And we're back. We loved it so much last year, we couldn't resist.
Can you believe that a year has already passed?
And here we are again, all three of us.
So, welcome once again to the NomadMania Travel Awards.
The second edition of it.
And just to remind you, I'm Francisco from Argentina, currently in Thailand.
And I'm Sarah from the UK, living in Hong Kong.
And I'm Sam from the UK, but I'm living in Mexico.
Now, last year we had a physical award, but this year we're going to offer recipients a choice. They can either have the physical award, same as last year, sent to their address, or they can get a digital certificate that they can embed on their profile or even on their website to have a donation of 100 euros in their name to a charity in Ukraine. Milana will provide 3 different options with Orist so that all recipients can choose. But before we continue, let's quickly remember a few highlights from last year's awards. Let's just
chat about a few things today with you guys about reaching 193. It's a pretty big goal.
Marie, I know you've had a long career in business and have a family. How did you manage to do that?
Just want to quickly say thanks to the Harry and the NomadMania team for bringing this together. Pretty fantastic community of people.
Last year, we presented 10 travel awards, but this year we have expanded by 2. We have 2 new categories. The biggest traveler of a low passport index, which means coming from a country with a not so high passport on the Freedom of Travel Index.
As well as the Best Fixer Award, presented to the local fixer which has gone beyond and above what we may expect in a difficult environment, helping travelers discover and explore with local experiences.
Let us remind you, 6 of the awards were decided internally by the team, and the remaining 6 were put to the vote of our NomadMania community. That's you. And if it isn't you, it should be. You can register at nomadmania.travel.
And don't forget to fill in your travel history. For many of us, our goal is to reach every country in the world. However, these travelers have now done it. This year in 2022, they completed the incredible feat of visiting every country in the world. And without further ado, let me introduce the guests of the first panel, every one of whom have completed the final UN country in 2022.
I'll say goodbye for now and leave these panels in the hands of Sam as we start off with the same award as we started last year, the biggest NomadMania Friend Individual Award. But let's get a great few people in first. Here are the members of our panel that will have a chat with Sam.
Hey, Odette. Hi, Flavio. Hi, Hans. David. Paul.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys all doing?
All right.
Good, thank you.
So, the theme of this panel is finishing every country in the world. I think pretty much everyone finished in this year, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll go to Romain first because I know a little bit about your travels. Tell me what it was like finishing the countries this year, and tell me about the whole journey.
Well, my last country was pretty interesting, Antigua and Barbuda, because the day I was supposed to leave, Hurricane Fiona was waiting for me in Antigua. So on arrival, we couldn't land, so we ended up having to turn back to Newark. And then eventually the next day I arrived, and my friends and family meet me there. But yeah, it was pretty interesting that I couldn't get to land that day. And all my friends landed.
Everyone else apart from you.
Yeah, the main character for the day.
So the world just wanted to delay you by one day without reaching your goal. Okay, and I'll jump to Hans. Tell me about your travels. Tell me about finishing every country in the world.
Well, my final country was Bhutan, which is, of course, a wonderful country in all respects. And I was particularly lucky because when we were there, we went to Punakha, and we told the monks in the cloister, at the temple, about the fact that I had just arrived at my goal. And they were very impressed, and as a consequence, they offered some prayers and so on, and that was a fantastic experience to do it at that particular place. And at the end of our journey in Bhutan, we went up to Tiger's Nest, and that was a fantastic experience. I think most of you guys have probably been there, and as you know, it's an amazing place to finish this kind of project, if I put it like that.
Yeah, I mean, Bhutan is a very special place, extremely calm, and it's a magical feeling being there. Flavio, tell me about your final country, your journey of getting to every country in the world.
Right. My final country has been quite easy because it's South Korea, so very developed, very easy to reach. I managed to make it in August where family and friends could join me, and the location I chose for the party was the DMZ. So after crossing so many borders, I decided to celebrate right there in the hope in the future we could cross that border as well. But for now, we had to wait. I could arrange a meeting between a refugee from North Korea and someone from the South. So they participated in this little party.
Okay, so great place to do it, right on the border of two countries. Obviously that's a lot of what we do cross borders to get to places. I'm going to jump to David because I think his connection might be bad. So if we can hear from him quickly, and then if that's possible, David, can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to assume David can't hear me. Odette, tell me about your travels. Okay, I'll go to you, Paul. I don't know if you can hear me, Paul.
To me?
Yes, Paul. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, the last country was Libya. Actually,
Okay.
3 years ago, I was stuck at 192. I was going to go to Libya, and COVID came. And, 70 already, so I'll never make it to 192. If I die before going to Libya, put some ashes in it, send them to Libya, at least and arrive to Libya post-mortem. But finally, in June of this year, I was able to go there, and it was a very exciting, experience.
And how did you go about that? Did you obviously visiting Libya has some difficulties, as I'm sure everyone
Yeah,
here knows.
it's very hard to get a visa. You have to get a business visa, and for American citizens, you have to get also a security clearance. It takes 2-3 months. So I went with my Greek passport, and obviously I couldn't apply for a visa in the States with a Greek passport because the embassy would have said, "Why are you applying here? There's an embassy in Greece." So we applied in Rome. And then I had to fly to Rome, pick up my Greek passport, go to Istanbul, and from Istanbul, go to Libya, where I spent 2.5 days.
Okay, and I imagine visited Liptus Magna and Tripoli and all that type of thing. Okay, Odetta, do you want to tell me about your travels and what your final country was?
Me?
Yes.
Odette,
sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in San Clemente, California now, and my last country was Iraq. I visited Iraq. I wanted to see Baghdad, but 2 days before arriving, there was serious conflict with rockets fired at the consulate. So I ended up in Kurdistan. Surprise, there was a mobile journalist who heard I was moving around. So he came to Erbil View Hotel and he interviewed me. And I was in national RT television in Iraq with his camera crew. That was really nice. And he had an interpreter, so that can be seen at YouTube. And he learned that I have written 6 books. I have written 6 books.
Wow.
Yeah, six books. Can you see it? Anyway,
I can see it.
6 books, and I am working on my 7th book. So that was a very nice experience for me because, I was in Iraq.
Do the books cover your travels? Are they about visiting every country? What is the subject of your books?
What was it?
The subject of your books is it?
Yeah. I started it in 2010 because I was just writing on steno notebooks and paper. But I met this friend in Madrid who had his books on Madrid library, and he said, "Why don't you make it to a book?" And I'm glad I did because, when you go to France, there are 40 cities in France. There is 40 cities in Italy. And I will not remember if I did not write it down.
Sure.
The details. So, and then 2 years after that, I made another book, and this is available. Well, anyway, it's a 400 pages each. It's not just a book. It's available on hardcover and softcover.
Okay, that's awesome. That's a great way of remembering all your travels, writing books, and keeping it down. And I'm sure you'll be able to expand on that. I'll go to Jason and tell me about your travels. Tell me about your final country. The road to getting to being UN master.
Yeah, so my last 5 countries were pretty much the countries with the hardest visas. So it was Nauru, then Libya, Pakistan, Turkmenistan, and then finally Syria. And I left New Zealand at the very end just for a celebration country. But in terms of the hardest countries, those were the hard countries. And the reason they were hard is because it just took such a long time to get the visas. And for example, in Pakistan, it took me about 3 years to get the visa because I applied 1 year. I waited the year, no response. I went back to the embassy. And then after 2 years, the president changed, or the prime minister, and then he made the visa process a lot easier. So I was able to go there in 2019. And I pretty much finished my countries in 2019 October, but New Zealand I waited until the winter, and I went there in February of 2020. All my countries except for 4 of them, I went solo independently, and the 4 countries I had to do tours on were North Korea, Turkmenistan, and then Syria, and of course North Korea. But Syria was the last one I did before the final one, and it was a 3-day tour, pretty good. And I was able to use Couchsurfing as a way to help my travels because a lot of people would help me. And then in terms of Syria, one of the members from that website, they were able to invite me and then connect me with a tour guide in the city, since tour guides are required these days.
I wonder how common that is for for those of us who have almost reached the goal or reached the goal to leave the final most difficult countries for last. It's kind of, they can be definitely a struggle. I've tried getting my Eritrean visa and Libyan visa and that type of thing, and they can be definitely a difficult thing. I'm going to go to David one last time, and I don't know if David can hear me. And David, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Do you want to tell me about your journey to visiting every country in the world and what it was like to finish it and what your final country was?
Yeah. So my last country is actually Venezuela. Actually, I'm in Aruba right now, so very close to it. It was the hardest visa for me to get. I tried with my Taiwanese and my U.S. passport, both difficult because the embassy they have in the U.S. is actually from the opposition government. And so I had to actually fly to Mexico City several times to get my visa, and then waited, 6-7 months. So I went there July with a few friends of mine, with a friend like Randy Ziegler. He's the one who introduced me to start chasing country about 5 years ago. So so that was a fantastic trip. Now I'm just kind of trying to visit most of the TCC list right now. I'm like 281, so with 19 to go. So kind of chasing different regions.
Chasing the next goal of trying to get all the TCC lists. What do you think you're going to do any more lists after that? Are you going to try and do the whole NomadMania list? Are you
Been app until they update their app. Now they're adding an island like Chagos and McDonald Island, which is impossible to get to. So maybe I would just stick with TCC. For at least that's kind of reachable.
Okay, I'll Romain. So are you gonna try and do the TCC list? Are you gonna what's your plans?
No, I won't do the TCC or MTP. I'll go for festivals and tribes next. I think I'm more intrigued in that stuff. So I do more festivals and tribes and more my bucket list places.
Is that, I don't know if someone wants to jump in. Is that are people still trying to go from different lists? Or people more traveling now that you've done every country in the world? Are you trying to visit things that you're very interested in, or are you trying to do more lists? I don't know.
Well, the UN Plus list seems interesting, I think.
Okay. So
right now I'm in St. Croix in U.S. Virgin Islands, and I guess that could be a contribution to the UN Plus list.
I'm on this cruise. I added 2 new islands. So I went to the Bonaire yesterday, and also Grand Turk. So those are on the TCC. So keep working on those. There's a lot of island left. So my next few trips is all islands, similarly.
Sure. I think we will have to try and get all those small places ticked off. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here. We're now going to go into presenting the awards. So I believe Orest will be joining us. Hopefully Orest is here.
Hey there. Hello.
So Orest is going to be helping us give out this award, or maybe even receiving it himself. Who knows? And now we give out our first award, which is the biggest NomadMania friend, the individual award. This is given to someone who has been exceptionally helpful to NomadMania throughout the course of the year. And without further ado, the NomadMania team has decided to give the award to Orest. So congratulations, Orest. How does it feel to win the first award of the night? And
that's like it's a pleasure for me to be the director of the show, obviously, and to be in behind the scenes to make things technically, but I definitely didn't feel like this, and it's very nice. Thanks a lot. And NomadMania was always deep in my heart, and I'm happily helping all these initiatives, meeting events all around the world. And even now, while I'm staying in Ukraine, it's a big privilege just to be part of the community. But getting the award is something extraordinary, definitely.
Well, you definitely deserve it, man. Running this show for the second year is not an easy thing to do. So I think it's amazing that you've managed to pull it off 2 years in a row.
Wow, cool. Anyway, I would like to use this 5 minutes of fame as well to send warm regards to everybody from Ukraine where I'm staying right now. You might be hearing that there are news that there are blackouts and our country is actually going through some difficult times, but having the support of the entire world and all the continents and countries that our panelists and participants who are watching this live are representing gives like I'm just feeling very grateful that now we can connect all together and that I'm able to stream exactly from Ukraine. So let's carry on with this show.
Awesome. So I think the next panel is Sarah and Badass Women Travelers. So I think Sarah will be
But
coming
before that, we have a surprise video, guys. So let's carry on, and all the previous panelists I invite to continue watching this video on YouTube.
Hello everybody and welcome to the second NomadMania Travel Awards. We're delighted to open the show today and welcome some amazing travellers and people that are travelling the world and seeing amazing things out there. My name is Rachel and
my name is Mari. We're also known as the two very hungry nomads, and we're really delighted to be here in Melbourne with some exciting news of completing the 193 UN countries recently. We set off on this journey 4.5 years ago, but it took us almost 20 years to travel the world, and all we want to do is to inspire others and add more women to the very small list of the UN Masters. So we're very happy to add an Australian, Slovakian woman to the list and see the wonderful world that obviously we all love so much, being part of NomadMania. So let's start the show and let's hear from all the other travelers around the globe.
Wow. Excellent video there and very well-deserved award for Orist. A friend in need is a friend indeed. So we're going to let Sam go and get his breakfast while I welcome an incredible panel of guests to present the most positive.
Sorry to interrupt, Sarah, your voice disappeared. Could you please check out what's going? Sarah, sorry, we still cannot hear you, but you can unmute you. I see that it's muted from your side. Sarah, please unmute your microphone.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. Sorry. I just introduced everybody. I hope you could hear me. No, you couldn't. All right. So it's a pleasure to have everyone here. Lucy, Ildiko, Mete, Yid, Riza. Thank you guys so much for joining. Apologies for the technical problems of which I'm sure we're going to have many tonight. As is inevitable with our kind of technology today. I just wanted to ask you guys some questions in terms of your experience as women travelers around the world. When you look at NomadMania or other similar platforms, I always am shocked by how few women travelers there are at the very top. So maybe Lucy, I'll start by asking you, why is that? What is holding women back?
Well, there's different reasons, different people. I think a lot of belief that there's risks out there for women travelers, and so we get a lot. So you're not exactly encouraged. I get asked all the time by people like, "Why do you travel? And don't you feel scared?" They question if I'm making choice for myself and for my family. So that's it. And I mean, to be fair, there are some women more so than perhaps for men in some regard. That might be.
Got it. So Lucy raised some really interesting points that I'm gonna touch on there. Riza, why do you travel?
Why do I travel? Travel is my passion. It's not a gender thing for me, and there's really no reason why women cannot travel. You know, I think you know, certain cultures you know, have gender stereotyping, where women you know, growing up in Asia, for example, in the Philippines, you grow up with your you know, your parents, your grandparents saying that you're a female, you know, you should be more careful, you're more vulnerable. And so those mindset when you grow up also affect, you know, your decisions on your travel.
Now, I know that you last year, I think you were the first Singaporean to get to every country in the world, first female Singaporean. Is that correct?
It was actually 2017.
2017.
So
from the
I
awards
completed
last year.
the
Do you
UN
agree
World
with
Tour.
Riza's assessment, you know, in terms of growing up in the region, that these are the kind of messages you heard? And I guess, you know, what made you think a bit differently?
Yeah, I would agree. I think travel to me is a very personal thing, and it's completely apart from gender or stereotyping. For me, travel really was a way to learn about the world and to really educate myself. And it's really been, I have to say, the best education that I could have ever asked for. This is over and above any kind of academic qualifications or degrees. I would tend to agree that there is a lot of preconceived notions, particularly in Asia, but I think in a lot of parts of the world, mainly due to the media, I have to say. A lot of times there are aspects of nations that are maybe sensationalistic and that are focused on in the media. So there's a lot of fear mongering, and I think people tend to rely on that even if they haven't been, so they tend to base their judgments on that, and that affects what people think about travel. So it really does come down to your own why and your own motivations, which I really let guide me. But I do think that a lot of people around the world are affected by others' opinions and the media.
Absolutely. Living in Hong Kong, I completely agree with that. Ildika, maybe just to follow on, what is your why? Why do you travel?
I really think Yui summed it up pretty much what is my opinion on this. I always think of traveling is the best self-education, like the best way you can educate yourself about the world and just let yourself, you know, indulge, explore the unknown. I mean, as a child as well, I loved learning about different cultures and customs via little cartoons. So naturally, as I grew up, that led me already this sort of curiosity to explore myself. And of course, debunking all that myth, which is in the media pictured from certain countries. Right now, I am actually tuning in from Albania. Now, Albania, if you think about it, mostly had like one of the overrated countries. Mostly people ask me, what, you are in Albania? And this is not even, you know, one of those countries which is pictured not in a nice spotlight in the media. We can talk about all the rest of the countries, Afghanistan, Pakistan. You know, let's not even just name countries, because this would be something you need to really appreciate why you're there and learn it yourself. Because my experience could be completely different from yours, because we have different perspectives, different aspects of thinking about, you know, travel, life, or even culture. And of course, we grew up also in different countries, ladies, so that also has an impact on our opinions. But yeah, definitely, it's all about learning. And probably I would say this is also the way you learn a lot about yourself, because you're gonna end up being a Zen yogi sometimes if you have to be patient, or you're gonna be just simply very much into improvising. So that's all about traveling, I guess.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. All of that said, Mette, sometimes we hear that women, maybe feel that they might be more at risk or more in danger. In your travels, Mette, has there ever been a time where you did feel at a disadvantage because you were a woman?
I think risk sort of increased when I changed from traveling as a woman solo, traveling with my 3 children, into sort of wishing to chase 193. Second, I did that with children. I started taking my daughters, teenage daughters, to countries like Syria, Chad, Equatorial Guinea, Mauritania, and Burundi, even Somaliland. And when I started doing that, I also made some pretty clear expectations with them and with people at home, saying, I will guard them with my life. So if one of us needs to be raped, that will be me. And if one of us needs to stay behind, maybe even not survive, that will be me. And that was a very sort of, to me, very responsible, but also very clear acceptance that I took a risk, and that as a woman, that would include the risk of rape. That said, most of the time, when I do travel with my daughters or solo travel, places in Africa like Burundi have no idea what is the concept of an independent woman, why I don't have to ask my father, the father of my children, my son even, how I can travel and where and when. And when I then bring daughters who are now 14 and 19, I've literally been asked whether I was there to find a husband for them. And the complete absurd notion of me going to a pygmy village in Burundi to find a suitable husband for my daughters, the absurdness of that sort of sometimes leaves me a little flabbergasted, I must admit. But for all objective reasons, the time I've been at most risk was last year in July, where I went to Afghanistan solo, literally at a time where Taliban was on their way towards Kabul, and everybody knew that at any given time this was going to blow up. And these sort of really strong, masculine South African logistic types working for the US military in the airport asked me if I was going on the evacuation plane together with them. And I was like, oh, I'm on Emirates, flight. And it turned obviously out that we were on the same plane. So I think that was by far the objectively biggest risk I took.
It's quite funny. I always like to tell people that in all my travels, the only time I've had a gun held to my head one time, and it was in Washington D.C. actually. So not in any kind of stereotypical emerging market. Question, maybe I'll take it back to Lucy. We've talked here a little bit about some of the challenges women face. Have you ever felt that you were at an advantage being a woman traveling?
Yes, I would say that there are advantages as well. I want to just quickly say that I'm calling from Marshall Islands, and my not the best, but I'm really excited to share that even though it's 3 a.m. and I'm struggling a little bit to sound coherent, this is country 192 for me. And and I couldn't imagine sharing it with, more relevant people than on this show. So hello from Marshall Islands. And thanks. Back to your question about advantages. You know, when I go to small towns and maybe villages, I found that because I'm a woman, I'm less maybe intimidating. I'm more approachable to the local people. So I remember it was a trip to Mogadishu, and I was with two other male travelers. And we went to this local park, which is a very popular place to interact with local people. People are there for picnics and spending time with family. It's a great opportunity to take photos with locals. And I just remember really beaming because the women and the children were just flocking to me and kind of avoiding the men. And it could be cultural that it's not as acceptable for the women to approach men and take photos with them. But I just remember my male travel companions were a little envious that all the women wanted to take selfies with me and practice English with me. And so, yes, there are times when I do feel there are advantages because as a woman, I'm not seen as a threat. And I will instantly connect with children and other mothers. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and she's been to 40 countries with me.
Whoa.
And so traveling with her is a different perspective because the locals really love seeing a foreign baby or toddler. And I used to just strap her to my front side and she's waving and giggling at people and it really draws positive attention. So I definitely think there are advantages on that front.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I don't know, Risa, have you had any similar experiences where you thought, thank God, in this situation I was a woman?
I can't think of anything in particular, but generally, there are many parts of the world where, being a woman is an advantage because it's back to that gender kind of stereotyping where you're seen as, vulnerable and weaker. And therefore you are to be protected. And so, in South America, in Asia, in certain parts of Europe, in certain parts of Africa, there's still that, when they see you carrying bags, big bags, there's still going to be a guy out there who's going to try and help you. And in Europe, there are still guys who open your door. These are nice things. They're an advantage. But more like, it's just nice to have to get treated this way.
Absolutely. So my final question here, and I'll start with you. If you could give one piece of advice to a woman out there who's watching this, who wants to be like all of you, but doesn't know how to get started, what would that one piece of advice be?
Sure. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier about think seriously about your why and what's behind your motivation for travel, because I really believe that determines the kind of experience you end up having, where you go, the order in which you go, and whether you even go at all. I would also say to really consider what's behind maybe the nervousness or fear, because a lot of times it's based on what others say, and you have to remember that people have different thresholds for risk and different tendencies. So I think it's very important to really look inside and do some soul searching and think what yours are, because in my opinion, travel is incredibly empowering.
Sorry for interrupting you, ladies. I think at this moment we have to proceed. So thanks for all the advices. And Sarah, we're looking forward to the award nominee.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Now, one of the nominees for the Most Positive Travel Award is actually here with us. So Lucy, congratulations there for being nominated. Also nominated are Dibjeet Sen, Very Hungry Nomads. That's Rachel Devi and Martina Sebova. recent UN Master Romain Wells, and Louisa Yu. The NomadMania community voted among the travelers whose good spirit and positivity teach all of us how to travel in the best frame of mind. And based on your votes, the recipient of this award goes to Lucy. Now, unfortunately, Lucy couldn't be here with us tonight. So there is, I think, a video.
Hello, I am Luisa. I'm deeply sorry that I can't be with you to accept this award. It would have been really great to see you all again. At this moment, I am on board a flight to Bali where I will be in Indonesia exploring with the National Geographic expedition. I am speechless, humbled, and honored to win this prestigious NomadMania Past Travel Award as the Most Positive Travelers 2022. It's an honor to be among my peers who I had admired and some who have traveled had the pleasure of traveling with. During the previous year, I had been continuous traveler to fulfill my dreams of a lifetime of seeing the world. It was challenging during the early part of the pandemic, but I was fortunate enough to travel to most unusual destinations that I've been to. I am blessed to have traveled mostly to the African destination, which is not easy, as you all know. This year, I finally made it to the 53 out of 54 countries in Africa, and I will continue traveling to reach my goal and all the 193 countries soon. Thank you.
How important is being positive when you travel? I personally think is number one. What's the point if you're unhappy and spreading bad vibes? Though I have to say it was not easy during COVID. But thanks to COVID, some people got down to writing books that they would have never written otherwise. Our next panel will introduce one of the awards that is internally selected. Last year, the incredible Tony Giles received the Against All Odds Award for his amazing travel spirit and achievements, even though he's both blind and deaf. And guess what? Tony is back again, and he will tell us a little bit about his books. Hi, Tony. Very happy to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can
Cool.
hear you. Which country are you joining us from now?
I'm in the beautiful tropical island of Sao Tome and Principe.
Wow, I'm jealous. I was reading your story in detail on your blog, and I have to say it's incredibly inspiring. Can you tell us a little bit about the 3 books that you've published so far?
Yeah, so I've basically 3 autobiographical travel books, basically about why a blind guy wants to travel the world and the crazy things I got up to, particularly when I was young. So my first book was about seeing the world my way and drinking and partying and trying to escape and discover myself. And then I wrote a book about traveling without drinking and how that was different. And then my third book, Seeing a Slice of Southern Africa My Way, was about my first trips in Africa and starting in South Africa and not really knowing where I'd end up. It's about the people I meet and the way I see the world through using my other senses of smell, touch, sound, food I eat, the music I hear, the people I meet, and engaging with the world through other senses and showing people that it doesn't matter if you're disabled or what your problems are, mental or physical, you can go and travel and have fun.
Yeah. What inspired you to start traveling and now going for like every country in the world?
Sorry?
What inspired you to start this journey of traveling around the world?
So when I was young, my dad's stories, his adventures, he was in the Merchant Navy and he described traveling across Australia, East Coast to West Coast in the 1950s by steam train. And so it was his stories that kind of got me interested. And I was going to the States, to Boston when I was 16 with special school for blind children I attended. And that was so different. Everything, sounds were different, smells, people talking funny accents. And I could sense an atmosphere on the street through my body. And I wanted more than this. And I was nearly 17 years old. So eventually went back to the States and discovered more and started from there. Really. And once I realized I could do it by myself and just like communicate with other people on the street, and I thought, let's do it. Let's continue. It's great fun.
And can you tell us what's your next book going to be about?
Yes, I'm currently working on putting together a book of essays and kind of travel blogs and emails I sort of message home and stuff and anecdotes and stuff. So I'm going to try to put that together, and so maybe that'll come out maybe sometime next year. So slightly different.
And all your books are ebooks, right? So they can get people can get them on your website.
They can find information on my website. They go to the usual ebook websites and buy them and download them, the normal places. And help me find my next travels.
Yeah, indeed. Then what's your next destination?
Well, I'm in a bit of a quandary at the moment. I'm trying to get e-visas for Angola or Gabon. Unfortunately, the Gabon e-visa doesn't seem to be coming through. So it looks like currently I'll be heading to Cameroon Friday or Saturday. It's all still a bit up in the air.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Keep us updated. Keep us updated. Finally, last question. What advice would you give someone that is afraid of traveling or going out of their city or their country because like they're afraid of the challenges they may face?
Just have a go. Go and have a go. Do you think you want to go travel somewhere? Do it. Do your research. Find out which country or place you want to go to. Do your research online and contact people, local people who can help you out. That's what I do. I contact people. How can you help me get this visa? Or can you recommend a hostel I can stay in? Or can you meet me? And just have a go. And if I can travel around the world totally blind, severely deaf, and with someone else's kidney, then anyone can have a go at doing it. Live life. You only get one chance. And traveling is amazing. There's nothing better.
You're a great inspiration for all of us, Tony. Thank you really for sharing your story with us. But we also have many more authors with us today. So let us welcome the members of our authors panel.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, Ed.
Hi, how are you?
Very, very good. Good to see you again. Very fast first question, and hopefully we have time. We can do a second one. Little intro about you. Where are you from? Where are you at? And what's the title of your book? Do you want to start, Ed Reynolds?
All right. Well, I'm in Southern California, and have been here for 30 years, except when I've been traveling. I kept a journal on all my travels, and when people asked me the favorite country, and they said, well, you should write a book about North Korea or some of these exotic places that people don't get to go to. So I started to publish my journal, and then I thought, well, gee, if I just had a chapter, a country, that the book could be so large with 193 chapters that it'd be impossible to do that. So I decided to split it up. And so the first book says, Do Not Travel There, which is tourist travel and Department of State of United States level 4 countries. So I picked the countries that the U.S. State Department had told me not to travel to. And that's the
that's the first.
purpose of
that's
that book, of the book. So it's
so basically,
yeah.
oh, that's great that you have it there. So a book about all the places where the U.S. says that you should not go because they consider it dangerous.
At the time that I went, you know, so
and
there's
the kind
more on the list now, and some of them that were on the list then are not on the list, you know.
Of course, yeah. We'll I have to move on. If we have time, we'll come back. But thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Sasha, I'm not sure if you have a good connection, but if you want to introduce yourself and talk about your book.
Good evening. Very nice to meet you. Yeah, here as a travel writer, my book is called Traveling. A couple years ago, it's basically about some anecdotes about Africa, mainly walking through the Congo, being in African Republic, getting attacked with guns, arm broke, and stuff like this. Actually, I think I should be in the intrepid travelers category awards this time, but because last year I visited Heinz Stück in Germany at this place, and I got the idea to drive down with a bicycle from Germany to Qatar. Took me 6 months to get to Iraq, but the two Iraqi consulates basically they kind of tricked me. They told me I would border, but because of Kurdistan nowadays you don't. So I was at the middle of winter in the mountains in Turkey, -20. I was there with I waited till I'm 80 years old. Then took his 79 model both down 12,000 kilometers and was in the middle of -20 stuck. Had to get rid of this bicycle, and then try from the Jordan side, hitchhiking then hitchhiked all the way north, you know, through Al Anwar, the Daesh prone area, and then Mosul to the border in order to reconnect with that route, and eventually made it to Qatar, where I'm now, and subsequently, coincidentally, I don't know, it was a surprise for me. I 001 ran here at the World Cup, and so they kind of made a slot of me here and handed me around the stations and you know, the VIP tickets to Germany, Spain.
Sasha, sorry, we have to move to the next one. Ed Hotchkiss, do you want to introduce yourself very fast and talk about your book? You're muted.
Okay, we're back. I'm unmuted. Thanks, Francisco. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah, for inviting me to this panel discussion. I put out a book, but it has very few words in it because it's a photo book, and it's about traveling the New York City subway. I'm a world traveler. I haven't been as many countries as I think all the other gentlemen on this panel possibly, but I'm working on it. But the other thing is, it's not just travel, but it's exploration. It's the urge to go out and discover what it is. And it can be close to home or it can be far away from home. And I found the New York City subway something just was really fascinating. So I spent over 10 years taking thousands of pictures of the New York subway in black and white and in film, which is different than digital. It has a different look to it. And I'm very happy with this book that came out. I just want to show it here. If you can see it. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay. So anyway,
sorry to interrupt you, but we have a lot of guests. We need to go to the next one.
Yeah, no.
Thanks for sharing. Boris, very fast, an intro about you and your book.
Yes, hi, I'm Boris. I'm from Netherlands, currently in Milan, Italy. I wrote a book, The Long Road to Colorville, about my travel to every country. I decided not to cover every country because that would be too much to put into one book. So I'm concentrating on 16 countries, which are 16 chapters in the book. And I'm exploring the question that many people ask me, like, isn't it dangerous to travel to all those places? And so that's basically the theme of the book. And readers have been calling it a travel thriller or a page turner. So it's just trying to inspire people to travel, but also trying to see to get like a more nuanced view on taking risk. But we all take risk when we're traveling to places like Iraq or Yemen or Afghanistan, and most of us all come back and have great stories to tell. So that's what my book is about.
Great, thanks. Leon, sorry, boys, they're rushing me. I really need to. Sorry. Leon, do you want to talk about your book?
I wrote 4 books. First of all, I want to thank Harry Mitsidi and NomadMania for the invitation they gave me. I am very honored to participate in this panel. The history of my travels and book is 1981. I was living in Panama where I was waiting by the mosquito of travels when the company I worked for sent me to tour many of the Caribbean islands. In January 2009, it occurred to me to write down all the trips I have made in chronological order. Initially, it did not occur to me to publish what I had written. I simply wanted to have the memories of my travels, so I recorded it on a CD. One day, along with my wife, I attended the launch of a book by an author that I wanted to meet personally. I bought his book, and when I opened it, I found a card from the publisher that said that they were making the dreams of writers who, like me, were just starting out come true. After thinking about it for a few days, I decided to call the publisher, and after a month, I had my first book published. I kept traveling, writing a descriptive narrative style and publishing in Spanish what became a saga of 4 books called Dromomaneando por el planeta Tierra in Spanish, or Dromomania by the planet Earth, in which I narrate in chronological order my trips made between 1981 and 2021. Dromomania has come to be used to describe a desire for frequent traveling, also known as wandering neurosis. I suffer from that addiction. The health is a more delicious of addiction. This is the story.
Thanks. Thank you very much for sharing. I'm sorry that we don't have enough time.
Okay.
Don, do you want to introduce yourself? And I think you have a special guest with you.
Definitely, sure. Hello, everybody. Welcome from Melbourne, Australia. It's 3:30 in the morning here. I'm really excited to be here. The title of my book is Gala, Adventures of the Most Well-Traveled Filipinos. And as you can see from the title, it's about the most traveled Filipinos. People you've seen earlier, Odette Casa, Riza Rasco, Luisa Yu, myself, and a number of other members from our Philippine travel group, the Philippine Global Explorers. We've featured ourselves in the group with our mini biographies. We've shared our collective tips and tricks, our advice when we travel, things we put in our backpacks, the websites we visit. We share our favorite bucket lists, our favorite countries, our favorite beach, festivals. And so it is a compendium. Go through each page. It's not meant to be read, sequentially. You can just click any page and get some golden nuggets of travel. And I'm really happy that in the back of the book, I've got a testimonial from another travel author who I'm really excited because it's our surprise travel author. He's the author of the Curious Case of William Bakeland. And who else than our NomadMania founder, Harry Mitsidi, is joining me from Melbourne live.
Hey.
Hi, guys. Here I am with Don. Hey, Don. Thanks for pulling an all-nighter here. Well, yeah, here we are in beautiful Melbourne, which has really developed into a great city. First of all, a shout out to all the authors. Well done with your efforts. And you should be proud. It's not easy writing a book, is it, Don? Yeah, it's tough work. I want to present a book that I got today, or well, it's yesterday here in Australia. So I got this book earlier today. I met 2 UN masters from Russia, Misha Zarubin and Sasha Zdanov. And this is Misha's book. So they have moved permanently to Australia. They now live in Perth, but they came to Melbourne for a few days. Misha's book is all about his adventures, traveling around all the countries in the world gradually. You can find out more about him in mike.around.the.world. So they are the two youngest Russian travelers to do every single country. Unfortunately, they will not be able to go back to their home country for the foreseeable future, if ever. Now, another shout out to Tony Giles, who is my inspiration, and I was really, really happy to meet you, Tony, earlier on in the year. Tony, thank you for being you. I really, really am very proud that NomadMania awarded you last year's award for the Against All Odds category, because you really deserve it more than anyone else I have personally met. So well done, Tony. Now, the Against All Odds category awards people who have successfully traveled despite difficulties. These difficulties may be physical or objective. This year, we are introducing the LPI, Lower Passport Index Biggest Traveler. So anyway, without further ado, this award was decided internally. And we've decided to award it to not one, but two travelers this year, both of whom travel despite their physical limitations. So this year's NomadMania award in the Against All Odds category goes to Renee Bruns and Slaven Skrobot. And if I'm not mistaken, Slaven is with us. Bog Slavene, kako si?
Pozdrav, evo me dobro. I'm good. Hello to everybody. I'm at home watching the World Cup, and actually it's Croatia playing at the moment. We are losing 0-1 to Canada.
Well, you know, in life you win some and you lose some, but you got to keep a positive attitude. Slaven, thanks a lot for your curiosity in exploring the world despite the difficulties. How has your trip shaped you as a person?
Well, I think I always had it in me, like to be curious and to be like an adventurer. But I think every journey shapes you. I mean, after every journey, I especially find something new about myself and especially about my body. Because when I got my injury, people here don't know, but I broke my neck 13 years ago. And since then, I am using a wheelchair. So actually, when I started traveling, I wasn't aware what my body can do. So every trip I had was a step above the one before, and I learned new things. Like the first time I went to Tanzania, I almost had a heat stroke. My body got overheated, so that was a new experience for me. That's not the things you can search in Google and find out, because people usually don't experience stuff like that.
Right, right. And do you believe that you will continue traveling, you know, for the rest of your life, or you know, what are your travel aims?
Well, I've never been into like traveling all the countries in the world, because I'm not interested in every country in the world. I want to visit the things I like, the things I'm interested in. So I don't know if I will be traveling my whole life. It really depends. Who knows where I will be in 10 years. But for now, that is my passion. That is what I like. That is what is fulfilling me. And I'm going in 1 month to Southeast Asia. I'm going to start with Thailand, then probably move to Laos, then Cambodia, Vietnam, and probably Indonesia. We'll see, because so I'm 100% disabled. So I'm not independent, and I always have to have at least one person with me to help me. So I'm going to travel with my personal assistant, and it's not easy. There's a lot of preparation. So I would just like to give an example. For that kind of trip, it's going to last at least 3 months. I need like 1,000 catheters. So it's not something I can take with me along the trip. So I need to send it to different locations in the Southeast Asia. So it's quite big logistics, and I'm aware of that. And like one journey like this fulfills me for a couple of months.
Great, great. Well, I'm really glad you found your calling, Slaven, and enjoy Southeast Asia, a really incredible region. Make sure you spend a lot of time in Laos. It's a hidden gem, I think. So
yeah, I know, but it's also the infrastructure. I think it's going to be the hardest one.
Right, possibly. Yeah, yeah. So Sretan Put, thank you. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so my name will still be Don Vales, guys, for the rest of this panel, and why not? Before I introduce the NomadMania team, we had our Oscar moment in the previous panel. Sarah is negotiating difficult technology because she cannot enter with her computer. Because of Hong Kong limitations, it seems. So we apologize that she got the winner muddled in that category. So the recipient of the NomadMania Award for Most Positive Traveler was voted by people, and it is Louisa Yu. Having said that, all the nominees, I am sure, were equally worthy. So well done to all of you. Now, it's time for the NomadMania Team Award, and let's bring in the NomadMania team. William, Yevhen, Milana, Serhi, and Daniel. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, let's very quickly introduce everyone. So, Milana.
Hi everyone, my name is Milana. I'm from Bosnia, currently living in Poland, and I'm NomadMania's manager.
Okay, Daniel.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel. I'm from Poland, and I'm the main lead developer, and I've been with NomadMania since the very beginning.
William.
Hi everyone, I'm William from Ghana, Tema, and I am the series guy for NomadMania.
Okay, so William does the series. So for series fans, all your complaints or thank yous to William, please. Okay, Yevhen.
Hi, my name is Yevhen. I'm from Ukraine, and I'm making some designs for NomadMania.
Thank you very much, Yevhen. And finally, last but not least, Serhi.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sergey. I'm from Ukraine. I'm staying in Lviv for now. I'm the student, and I'm a NomadMania helper, as I know.
Thank you very much, Serhi. And thank you all. Now, very quickly, some people love NomadMania, some others hate it. You know, that's the way of the world. What do you like most about NomadMania, Daniel?
Okay, since I'm in the technical spectrum of this project mostly, I like the maps and very much. And actually, this inspired me to travel more. So I'm getting inspired even more by this great event that we're having tonight. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. And what about you, Milana?
For me, it's all about the people that I get to meet through this project and this whole scope of NomadMania that it is. I mean, it may seem like just some lists out there, but it's a huge project, actually.
Right, indeed. William?
Well, I am fortunate to meet some of the travelers during our conference in Sao Tome, and I saw how passionate they were about their travel and the hike and stuff. And I'm happy to contribute with my research and give them more series to explore whenever they visit any NomadMania region. So it's something that I enjoy doing.
Okay. Yevhen.
Traveling for everyone.
Okay. Short but sweet. And Serhi.
As for me, the most exciting part is interview, maybe because I worked for them. It's good because it's opened up a lot of unique travel bloggers to people.
Thank you. Okay, guys. This is the only award that I have the authority to decide on. Once again, let me remind whoever's listening that 6 of the awards have been voted on by you, the community, based on nominations that were then filtered by the awards committee. And let me make clear, I have nothing to do with the awards committee. So I was not in charge of the nominees. The other 6 awards are decided internally, mainly by Milana, Daniel, and myself, based on our understanding of who is out there and who is deserving. This is the only award that only I decide. Last year, Thomas Büchler was the recipient of the best NomadMania team member. I remind you all that Thomas is our verification guru, and thanks to you, he has been able to give NomadMania a unique position by verifying almost 200 travelers and certifying that they've really done the travel they've done. Thomas is in Saudi Arabia as we speak, so unable to join us because he is a committed traveler. Without further ado, this year's award for Best NomadMania member is going to go to someone who has been with us for a while. We met more than 7 years ago, and initially his involvement was only with maps, and I specifically remember logging in from Ulaanbaatar very late in the evening and negotiating how we would create new maps for NomadMania. Gradually, however, he took over all of the background tasks, and without him, we would really not be where we are. So this year's award goes to Daniel Zagrodzki. It's a real pleasure having you on the team. Well
Thank
done.
you very much. Thank you very much. That is a surprise. Thanks, Harry. Thanks. Yeah, I'm very proud to receive this award. And as you mentioned, Harry, it's been a long journey. We've progressed significantly now. I may have been the person to kind of be technically involved, but NomadMania would be nothing without its team now and the community. So this is such a big project that I'm really now happy to be this tiny part, making sure everything works. It's inspired me to, to travel, to develop myself too. And well, I met my future wife through that project, which is Mila now. So this is a bonus, like a really real cool bonus. So thank you again.
Right. So yeah, NomadMania really does bring people together, and I guess sometime in the summer we're going to have a special wedding issue of our NomadMania newsletter. So do get ready, guys. Okay, team, thanks a lot for joining. It's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the show, and I'm gonna give it now back to Sarah. Are you around, Sarah, who will take over our next panel? And yes, we cannot avoid politics in traveling. And so our next panel is all about, politicians and travel. Yeah?
Absolutely. Travel cannot be separated from politics, can it? Maybe we wish that it could be, but alas, that's probably never going to be a reality.
Judging by all the visas we need to get, it definitely can. So
Absolutely.
I leave it to you, Sarah. Take
you.
it from here. Bye, guys.
Thank you. And so in this panel, we will introduce 3 present and former politicians who will talk to us about how their role affects our travel environment. And I think they're just going to join us here, hopefully one by one, as Oris lets them in. Right. So please welcome Gianni. He's going to be joining, and Gregory Zarifopoulos, the former Deputy Minister of Digital Governance of the Hellenic Republic. We also have Olympia Anastasopoulos, Secretary General for Tourism, Policy and Development of the Hellenic Republic, Ministry of Tourism. Hello, thank you for joining me this evening.
Thank you.
And we were going to have Gianni joining us as well, but it is his birthday. So I think that perhaps he might be celebrating. So I'm going to start maybe with you, Olympia. In your particular role, could you maybe tell us a little bit about what you are doing to promote tourism to Greece?
Yes. Hello. Good afternoon, everybody, or whatever the time is. I think we're international panel here. Hello, Grigori. Nice to see you. And
Hi.
hello, Harry. Thanks for inviting me. It's a great honor, and I believe you have a distinguished audience. I've been dealing with tourism the last, hello, good afternoon,
Good
the
afternoon.
last 11 months.
Mm-hmm.
I was appointed Secretary General for Tourism Policy and Development on January 1st, 2022. And since then, I'm exploring the roots of tourism. Listen, in Greece, tourism is of paramount importance. It represents 25% of our GDP. So that means that 1 out of 4 euros in our economy comes directly for tourism. And also the influence in other sectors of the economy is also great. For example, in 2019, we had a record year of approximately 18 billion of income. And the indirect income reached up to 50 billion. So you understand the importance of the sector and the responsibility we're facing. We've been working in multiple levels in order to ensure that 2022 also is a record year. Up to now, the results seem quite optimistic. I believe that we are close to 2019 income and maybe even surpass it by some percentage. And we are already working for 2023.
Wow.
And let me tell you just briefly that, as you all may know, Greece has been famous for decades for the model, the sea and sun model. But now we have to move beyond this model, and we are trying to achieve a prolongment both in space and in time. That means that we have to promote other destinations, not so well known, all around Greece. For example, Peloponnese, northern Greece, other islands not so well known as Mykonos and Santorini, which I know everybody maybe has visited or has heard of. And also we are trying to achieve the prolongment in time. We want to have 12 months per year, 365 days tourism. So
Wow, that's
yes,
quite an
briefly, this
ambitious
is our
goal.
strategy. Yes. And I have to tell you that this year has been very good in this respect as well, because, for example, we had the first flights from the USA on March 7th. We had the beginning of April from Canada. This helped a lot.
Excellent. Thank you
Yes.
so much for sharing that. It's absolutely fascinating to know what you're doing. Gianni, I see you've joined us. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Now, Gianni, you're a traveler, but also I know you're a writer, a politician. I wanted to ask you in terms of the boundaries of travel. Is it right to travel anywhere, anytime, or do you think that there are certain kind of red lines and places where we should make the decision not to go?
Yeah, naturally, that's a good question, and it's really no issue. Of course, I think that generally speaking, the will to travel, it really could not have limitation, of course, because I also think that also in countries in difficult times, you can really find, you can really experience incredible emotion, meet people, and then really great experience. Of course, there are some extreme concern, like war situation, war area, or country heavily affected by terrorism. But for example, what is happening nowadays in these days in China, no? Just a few days ago, with this popular uprising against the zero COVID policies, it should be, from my point of view, if it should be possible to travel there, it should be exceptional. You can now as you said before, I've been in politics for many years. Now I'm a former politician. I've been for almost 35, 40 years in politics and diplomacy. Now I'm a journalist and I'm a writer. But sometimes also to be able to be in country in some critical moments, in difficult times, it's really, you could really experience the transition, the change that can occur in a certain place. What is happening today, for example, in Iran and China, I think it's quite astonishing, and it should be great to experience it on a first-hand account. It should be very important.
We certainly do live in very variable and interesting times. Gregory, how do you think that politicians, in your former role in terms of Deputy Minister for Digital Governance, how does that impact the wider travel environment?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah, and thank you everyone for inviting me in this, and congratulations for the great organization. To your question, I think politicians should aim to, first of all, promote their countries, and digital is definitely a platform to do so. So in the digital governance ministry of the Hellenic Republic of Greece, we work with the Ministry of Tourism to help with the digitization of registries, but also of platforms. And eventually, I think politicians and governments should try and provide tourists with digital experiences as they enter the country. So is promote the country online, as most, especially young people, but also older generations now are using the internet to get educated about their future travel destinations and plan. So the country should have a presence online, but then once in the country, you should, as a tourist, as a visitor, be able to use tools and platforms to really enhance your experience in the country. That's one thing that politicians should do. The other thing, of course, is to facilitate the movement, the free movement of people around the world. So things that have to do with visa requirements, how easy it is to enter a country and visit the country, the whole country. These are things that I think politicians should work with in between themselves to make it easier for people to travel and experience the different cultures and visit the different countries.
Absolutely. And I know that I think if you polled a bunch of travelers who've been participating tonight, visas has probably been one of the words that's come up the most frequently. Go ahead, Jim.
Sorry, if I may, very, now with the Brexit, imagine for such a long time the relationship that we European Union member states and citizens, we're talking about 500 million people, and now you need a passport again to go to United Kingdom. That should really something that should be great also if NomadMania could raise. There should be something that really a quick agreement again between European Union and United Kingdom to come back again. I would like UK back again, European Union, but I know this is not easy and not possible. But at least to avoid to come back again to an agreement on avoiding passport, avoiding any kind to open again a free flow of people at least. I'm not saying goods because I know there are other issues, but at least people. There should be a great announcement for the UK government, but for the European Union as well. So this is something, the free flow of movement is really human right. So the possibility to travel freely is really human right. So there's something that really people like you that is really focused on traveling, on tourism, and on the innovative way to travel should take care more and more. I think that should be a very important point.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think
yes, and if I may add something, Sarah, about that,
Please.
you are now you're located in London. You're calling us from UK,
Hong Kong.
Ah, okay, you're in Hong Kong. But I have to,
Close.
I totally agree with Mr. Vernetti because I was recently in WTM in London. And there we suffered the checks and everything. They even asked me for how long do you intend to stay, what is the purpose, and I was like, I'm the general secretary. I'm going to the WTM to promote tourism. Yes, okay, thank you very much. And I also want to add to what Grigori said and what I think his ministry, and I think was serving at the time, they did a great job in reopening the tourism because, recently I was at the Toronto Economic Forum where the vice president of Air Canada mentioned explicitly Greece and said that on May 31 of 2021, we are the first European country to enable the EU digital certificate for the pandemic. That's how tourism reopened. We were pioneers, and that was thanks, of course, to the Ministry of Digital Governance, along with other applications that it helped us with. And I just wanted to mention that.
Wow.
Because, the way we dealt with the pandemic, we were able to transform it in more tourism inflows. And
excellent example
this is
of
something very
collaboration.
important. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, many of the travelers who will be talking tonight are adventurers who go to, some more extreme countries and some of the lesser explored corners of the world. In your professional experience, what would you recommend travelers do when traveling in a less stable or perhaps controversial region? Are there certain precautions that as professionals you would recommend they take?
Keeping low
Yeah.
profile as much as possible, because of course, and sometimes in war-torn countries, only to be a Westerner is something of concern. To not say that you are not a journalist, not even a politician, or not even a writer, so that keeping low profile. But I think it's still possible also traveling in extreme condition, in extreme area is still possible. And I think it's good because also sometimes to have eyes that have with an independent mind and independent looking to observe in countries and in a bad situation, a war-torn situation is always possible. It's in something, some travelers can arrive where journalists, where news does not, or where diplomats cannot arrive, or where government officials cannot arrive. So I think it's always extremely possible for the people, for local people as well.
I agree with you. Absolutely. Gregory, what is your opinion?
Yes, thank you, Sarah. To Gianni's point on low profile, I would also add the word respect. I think we need to be respectful when visiting other countries, because we are exactly that. We are visitors to these countries. So we need to play by the rules, to obey the local laws, but also the local traditions. I think that's extremely important. Even in situations where we don't necessarily agree, or we wouldn't actually choose to live in this particular country, it's still extremely important to visit these countries and form opinions of our own, and really try to understand the cultures and the different points of view. I think a major part of traveling is to come in contact with locals and try and understand and debate, but do that with respect. We are, again, visitors. I have been to some, I probably haven't traveled as much as the majority of NomadMania members, but I've been to North Korea, I've been to Myanmar, I've been to some countries where I would have some disagreement, or I would definitely see things differently. But I've tried to keep low profile, but also be very respectful to the people, to the local traditions, and try and understand and form an opinion on my own. So I think respect is an integral part of what we should be doing as travelers.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's good advice for all of us. And my last question here will be for Olympia. Earlier this evening, we spoke to some women travelers around the challenges that women face, especially as solo travelers going to different parts of the world. What do you think governments can do to alleviate some of the challenges that certain travelers, be it female or be it with any other kind of, perhaps challenges? What can governments do to help?
Yes, I would like to connect this question with the previous one and say that, today's norm is we don't call them tourists anymore. For example, I don't like calling them tourists. I like to call them travelers. And what does that mean? That you seek authentic experiences and you seek to blend in, as Grigoris also said, and you need to treat them with respect so that you feel what it's like to be a member of the local community. And that is the new trend. I suppose you as professional travelers know it even better than myself. The problem that you expressed about women traveling, yes, it's not always safe to travel alone, even if you're a man or a woman. But in the tourism sector in general, I believe that more women should come in power because we have a small percentage of women in higher levels in organizations or agencies. And this can also help develop policies that protect women. I have to say, I've been recently to Riyadh, where you know that the place of the woman is somehow difficult. I noticed that, however, everybody around us treated us with respect. And they knew we were coming from Europe, from Greece, so they didn't expect us to wear the scarves and all that. They were, very civil. I believe that some progress has been made in this respect.
Great.
But
That's
of course,
great to
also
hear.
women, yes, also women should try and be, measured and low profile, as you all said. And but I have to tell you that what worries me or troubles me most is that there are some areas in the world where women are not allowed ever to visit. And I'm very sorry to say that Mount Athos is one of them in our country, Greece, where it's a majestic, place. I would very love much to go, and I can only approach by boat, by sea.
Sure.
And the problem is that many of the people in charge in monasteries, they come to my office, they ask for help for doing some things, structures and infrastructure, and help them with that, with EU funding, blah blah. And I say, okay, I will help you, but you're not allowing me to
You're
enter.
not allowing half the population. I
So it's
completely
kind of
understand.
weird.
Thank you so much
And I
for
just
sharing
wanted
your...
to note that, and hopefully we'll have some progress in this respect as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and opinions on that. This has been an extremely illuminating panel. And indeed, it is appropriate that we now award the Most Purposeful Traveler Award, given to one whose travels are not just for fun, but have a deeper purpose. Now, the nominees for Most Purposeful Traveler are Mette Erles Mikkelsen, Barry Hoffner, Christian Ilicic, Catalin Jarvis, and Billy Offland. And based on your vote, Gregory, I think you're on with us to share the recipient of the award.
I'm with you, but
Okay. The
I don't know.
Most Purposeful Traveler Award will go to Catalin Jarvis. Hi, Catalin. Thank you for joining
Congratulations.
tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me. So I just
Tell
want
us, yeah, how does it feel to receive this award and to be the most purposeful traveler?
Yeah, so you don't always when you start to want to do good in the world, you don't do it to get an award, but it's a really nice feeling to be recognized amongst such inspiring travelers as Mette and Christian and Billy and Barry. So it feels good to be honored with this award. So thank you.
Well deserved. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And I think now, next up, Sam will be rejoining me here to move on to the next panel. So Sam, what do you think? Has politics affected your travels?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has. Politics combined with the virus has shaped my travels for the last 2 or 3 years, as I'm sure it has for many others. And it's completely changed the world of travel. And what about you, Sarah? Is that have you had a similar experience?
Yeah, well, I'm in Hong Kong, which has been stubbornly shut for almost 3 years now, and it's certainly affected my ability to travel around. Unlike our intrepid guests, who in this panel will talk to us about being just a little bit crazy.
Yeah, and crazy is what it's all about. If politics doesn't drive you crazy, then I guess efforts of other people will. And hopefully all of our guests are going to be joining us now have had some crazy and intrepid travels.
So please welcome our guests joining here. We've got Jacqueline.
Hi.
Hi. Emilio.
Hello, Sarah.
Hello. Great.
And that's it, apparently. Okay,
Yeah.
guys. So, Emilio, I'm going to come to you first. Tell me about your intrepid travels. Tell me where you've been. Tell me what you've been up to. Where's the kind of craziest experiences you've had?
Okay, hello. It's an honor to be part of this panel today. I'm in Buenos Aires, Argentina right now. And everything started when I was very young, at 8 years old. I told my mother that I want to be the first man to go to the moon. And then my mother, at 8 years old, gave me an atlas. She bought an atlas, and I saw in the atlas the countries, a part of see the moon and the planet Earth. And then I see the pages with countries and names, Samarkand, Congo, mountains of the moon, Mongolia. And I follow with my finger when I was a kid, those red lines. And then I say to my mother, you know what? I have an idea. When I come from the moon, I'm going to build a road that's going to cross every country on the planet. And for years, I continued to talk about that, but everybody said to me that, forget about that, that's crazy, not possible, etc., etc. And time passed, years passed, I continued to talk to everybody about my plan to traveling around the world. I don't know in what. I have no money, living in a third world country, poor family. So it was not easy to think to cross border. I don't even have the possibility to have documents, passport. But then at 30 years old, I was a medical rep of Pfizer. And at 30 years old, I see myself with that dream. And one day and say, it's over, Emilio, it's over. You have to leave everything, family, dog, work, everything. You have to go. No money, no knowledge, nothing. You have to go. And bought a motorcycle. And with $300, everything that I have in my life, with $300 and this motorcycle, very big motorcycle, that I don't even know how to drive, I start my journey from Buenos Aires, leave everything and say everybody goodbye. Was not a party to say goodbye. Nobody believed. And I start to traveling the world, 14 January 1985. And I end that trip on 2 April 1995, 10 years, 2 months and 19 days. And I cross with the same bike 280 countries and territories, islands, and atolls. That's the story, basically.
Okay, that's amazing. It's great to hear about that experience of basically packing up your whole life and setting off for $300. I think many people start in small little ways. Petch, thank you for joining us. Do you want to? Obviously, I know a little bit about your travels. You want to tell me a little bit more about it and some of the crazy places you've been?
Hi, Sam. It's great to be
joining the award show this year. Unfortunately, I didn't make it last year, and thank you again for giving me the award. Yeah, I've been traveling full time for about 6 years, and since about 2 years ago, because I see the world as a pyramid, and I don't intend to just explore the base of the pyramid. There are places on the tip of the pyramid that might be a little bit more challenging and a little bit harder to go, but also interested me a lot. So for the past few years, I've been aiming at countries like Afghanistan, Mali. Last year, I spent about 1 month in Afghanistan exploring before the Taliban took over. So that was very fascinating, and I got to visit some destination like Nuristan, where people look a little bit more like European, blonde hair, blue eyes, in the northeast. And last year, I also did a boat trip, a slow boat from Timbuktu to Mopti in Mali. That was something new since the war began in 2012. And earlier this year, I also pulled up a newer destination like Chad in the north. It's called Tibesti. So Tibesti is quite a rare part of the Sahara where people go to because it takes about 1.5 weeks to road trip up there, and you have to deal with some political issue between the Shading government and the rebels who stay in the north, controlling the gold mine in the north. So that was something quite challenging. Yeah, I think traveling to these challenging destinations kind of opened my eyes a lot and allow me to understand people more in a rare destination that traveler don't visit that much. And this, is very inspiring, and it's a valuable lesson for me as a younger traveler right now, because I still have the motivation, the energy. So I try to push it as much as I could, and also pass all this energy, this motivation to other travelers as well.
Yeah, I mean, your travels have been incredible. I followed it very closely, and you go to some incredible places. You spoke about Afghanistan and your trips there. I know Jacqueline's had quite the experience in Afghanistan as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience in Afghanistan and what it was like going there after the Taliban?
Yeah, sure. So I was in Afghanistan this year in June for about 2 weeks. I went independently with a friend of mine. So we thought that was going to be a great idea. We went to the embassy that morning in Dubai, ended up getting the visa in about 2 hours. We were on a flight that night, no plan, no idea what we were doing. But it was definitely a really eye-opening experience. I mean, we all watched the news a year ago, just over a year ago now, when the Kabul airport was overrun. And so it was it's incredible that travelers are even able to return and be able to see what's actually going on the ground firsthand. And it was interesting to get different perspectives from people actually living there as well. So, we have what the media tells us and things, but it was interesting being able to actually sit down with families and hear what they thought, how things were going for them and how they felt about the Taliban.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jacqueline. It is certainly an interesting time to be traveling to such a country. So thanks everyone for sharing your thoughts and your views. We will move on now to the Low Passport Index Biggest Traveler Award. This is one of our new awards this year, meant for a traveler who's gone very far, even though their passport is, so to speak, challenging, where visas and various restrictions apply. The nominees for this award are Nukpida Chanlenglert, John Opal, Pongtharin Than Thasindu, Kach Umandap, and Radwan Ziadeh. So Sam, over to you.
Yeah, and this year we're going to be giving out an Oscar to one of... Oh, wait, it's not an Oscar. Okay, I'm sorry. So I got carried away. The NomadMania Award goes to Pongharin Hans Stan Iwu, and he'll be joining us through a pre-recorded video. And let's hear it from Pong.
Hi, everyone. Sorry that I cannot join the ceremony. Anyway, just want to say that I'm very honored and grateful to have been chosen as the biggest low passport index of 2022. As the winner of the biggest lowest passport index, I believe that this obstacle cannot stop us from achieving our dream of traveling the world, despite all the challenge that comes with our passport. Again, I would like to thank NomadMania communities for choosing me for this award. Thank you so much. Take care.
And we are now in the middle of our show. So why don't we take a small break to watch a video, also available on NomadMania's YouTube channel. Let's see why some people like NomadMania.
NomadMania! I like NomadMania because it means endless exploring.
For me, the best thing about NomadMania is that it exists.
NomadMania, it motivates me to travel.
The best thing about NomadMania is that they've created these extensive lists of cool things to do when you travel. Lighthouses, UNESCO sites, museums, national parks. I personally use them to plan the best trips with my children.
I really appreciate how NomadMania has inspired me to travel even farther, even deeper around this amazing, huge, glorious planet of ours. And I appreciate how it's brought me into a community of other like-minded travelers who share this crazy, crazy passion for seeing the farthest corners of the globe. Thank you, NomadMania.
What I like about NomadMania is the sheer amount of information that it contains on so many different topics. So for example, it has all the World Heritage Sites, many of the forts and castles, religious sites, and so much more. It's really my go-to place for trip planning, and it can be yours too.
Hello everybody, I'm Miraj. I'm very happy NomadMania be in NomadMania. NomadMania very nice travel club. NomadMania is good community. NomadMania too much very interesting information. Thank you everybody.
Very powerful platform which I use if I go to a rather off the beaten path place to connect with other people who have been there and to find some fixes for this destination.
NomadMania, it's a great source for people who love to travel. But first of all, NomadMania, it's a great community of people. Awesome people, interesting people, and the great people. That's why I love NomadMania.
What I like most about NomadMania was their choice of diverse group. We all had one goal and one passion, which is traveling and exchanging information and knowledge. And it felt like we all understood each other in this concept.
NomadMania helps travelers know more about the world in a wider perspective. Personally, there are so many regions that I never heard of on the map, and NomadMania leads me to a further exploration.
I would like to rank NomadMania the best online travel club for exploring the world, get new ideas and track your own travels, and not the least for the opportunity to meet other Globetrotters.
What I like about NomadMania is the biggest community of travelers, and this community make this world look very small because you get a lot of information through this community. I'm very proud to be part of it and hope to see you all in Iraq one day.
I like NomadMania because I get to meet nice people from NomadMania, and I like to click things, especially regions.
One of the reasons I really like NomadMania is this website is designed by a traveler to travelers, and it really gives you an insight of what you're gonna do in a country. Besides of the capital, you gotta see the main sites, quirky places, and it's very efficient and reliable, and I really love it. So keep it up. Thank you.
I joined NomadMania because I wanted to see how my own travels compared in relation to what others were doing. I had no idea who else was out there with big ambitions. I was both encouraged and astonished at the worldwide thirst for exploration, the incredible number of people with the curiosity gene. I've discovered that the best thing about NomadMania is the opportunity to chat to other travellers, get advice, see what they're up to and what they're planning, even travel with them. The problem is that as a result, my goals just get bigger and further away.
The most thing what I like about NomadMania is technical part and the community part. So from the technical part, it's really amazing how NomadMania is dividing the world into particular regions. And on another side, NomadMania is not simple a web tool. Yeah, this is the entire community of people, of avid travelers who gather from time to time in different parts of the world, who exchange experiences, who really help each other, who provide information. And this part makes this project like really unique. So I'm super grateful being an active participant of my NomadMania movement, and I wish this project to develop further.
We're also active members of NomadMania website.
I really love this website because it's like this amazing travelers club. You know, you can see your progress as you travel the world and where you've been in regions, but you also get to know other travelers from other parts of the world and where they're from and where they have traveled as well. So
another great feature is the newsletter every month. Really interesting. You get to meet new travelers, where they've been, where they're going, and maybe link up with them on the road somewhere.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of lists that you can compete with. It's really designed for everyone, and we are really impressed that it's been around for 10 years. So well done, guys, and keep on going.
So NomadMania to me, it's something like chronicle of my traveling life, and I see how it's developing every month.
I like NomadMania because it has a very cool division of the regions, 1301, and it also creates a wonderful world map of places where you have been, changing the color. The cities can be anything. It can be palaces, it can be religious buildings, but it's also pedestrian bridges like the Tibetan Ponte Tibetano, the Tibetan bridge, where I'm right now in Ticino, Switzerland, with a wonderful view.
What I like most in NomadMania is that it's by far the best resource to track travels.
My number one favorite thing about NomadMania is the competitiveness. I like how there's different leaderboards and how you get ranked up in different ways against different people, different age groups, different countries. And I think that's pretty fun.
Area's not only created a community for great resources and helpful information, but more importantly a place where you can meet and travel with people from all around the world, and I'm grateful for NomadMania and be a part of this.
NomadMania has always been a great resource for me, and I can check out what to see, whether it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a waterfall, a funicular, a museum. It's all populated by region geographically. It makes discovering new things and makes sure I don't miss anything when I'm traveling. Thanks, NomadMania.
Things that I like the most about NomadMania: the way the regions are conceived, the people I have met over the years, and the fascinating series.
Welcome back. Samuel in the video mentioned that NomadMania is a great place to find a fixer. Fixer, a strange word, right? Whereas a fixer may not be needed if you're heading to Norway or Canada, try visiting Libya or Syria without one. NomadMania has tried especially hard to develop relationships with fixers. And in our fixer panel today, we welcome some incredible guys. Yes, they tend to be guys from all over the world. So say hi to the members of our next panel.
Hi Francisco.
Hi Ayub.
Good evening.
Good evening. First of all, thank you very much for joining. I know it's not easy. You have to use VPNs, and sometimes the connection is not great. Why don't you tell us, Ayub, what are the main challenges of traveling to Syria in your case, and why should people go and visit your country?
Unfortunately, because of the media who always put Syria in a bad image for everyone, so people don't feel like Syria is a safe destination to go to. But with time, this is changing because a lot of people now know that Syria is safe, and they are telling stories about their journeys to Syria. So this vision is changing by the travelers, and I think now every year we have more people than the previous year. But also there's kind of propaganda about the country, so people think that Syria is extreme country and they cannot like feel free in here. which is wrong because Syria, it's a secular country and you can dress wherever you want and you can think in the way you like without any problems with anyone. So this is part of the vision about the country.
Interesting. Ahmad, what is the biggest challenge of visiting Iran, and why should people join you in exploring your country?
First of all, I say hello to everyone who are listening to us, and thank you very much for having me here. The biggest challenge in Iran is the media. You know, unfortunately, a lot media. As Ayub says in Syria, the challenge which is happening in Syria, we have the same thing in Iran, and we have a lot of challenge. And the media has a great effect on the people's mind, and a lot of people, due to the propaganda, think that Iran is not safe to travel. But I can tell you, according to one traveler, I mean, the people who visit Iran says Iran is one of the safest countries in the world. Nothing happened to the tourists before. But if some small thing happening to any tourist, it will be like a bomb everywhere in the world, and everyone say that, oh, see what happened there, what happened there. But in reality, Iran is absolutely safe. It's a beautiful country. We have a lot UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is worth to see. And thanks to NomadMania for all the division parts for Iran. And Iran it's a nice place to see, and it is very easy to provide you visa. We have a travel agency, and we can provide you visa. We can provide you invitation letter in case you want it. For all nationalities, it's easy to come, except 3 nationalities: American, Canadian, and British people. If they want to come to Iran, they must have a tour guide, official tour guide in Iran. Which also, if these people, these nationalities that I mentioned, if they need it, we can arrange them visa and also the tourist guide to come and visit Iran.
Interesting. I can attest to how safe Iran is. In fact, yesterday we were speaking that I felt safer in Iran than in my own country, in Argentina, or in other Latin American countries. Gianluca, do you want to talk about the challenges of traveling to the countries where you work?
Hi, Francisco. Thanks very much for having me. Since I'm mostly focusing on the entire former Soviet Union, as the name of my company says, the challenges are very different because, of course, we have a much harder destination than others. So, for example, of course, traveling to certain areas of Siberia, Central Asia, or right now Ukraine is much more challenging than, let's say, traveling to Georgia or Armenia. So it's very complex to summarize what are the challenges in traveling to the former USSR. But if I had to mention 3, for sure, the language. As English is not very widespread, I speak fluently Russian, and all our guides speak both, of course, English, Russian, and the local language of the country they are based in. Then bureaucracy might be a problem, especially in certain countries such as Turkmenistan, which is notoriously difficult to get a visa to. And then, of course, the complex geopolitical situation, as this tragic war of aggression against Ukraine is showing us, the geopolitical panorama, the geopolitical scenario in the former Soviet Union is extremely complex. And our company overcomes the challenge with, first of all, knowledge of the territory we travel to, the areas we travel to, and then an excellent network of local guides and contacts. So to navigate through the former Soviet Union, you really need a deep knowledge, both of the geopolitical dynamics of the territory and of the culture, because it's a kind of a terra incognita for most travelers out there.
Thanks for sharing, Gianluca. In fact, one of my bases is Georgia, and I'm planning to go to the Central Asian countries. So I might contact you for next year.
You're more than welcome.
Obed, thanks. Obed, do you wanna welcome first, and do you wanna share what are the challenges of visiting your country, and normally how do you work with travelers that go?
Thank you very much, Francisco. Yeah, I'm based in DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. That's where I'm, like Eastern Congo. I'm in the most difficult part of the country, exactly because we are facing the war, civil war, since more than 3 decades. But yeah, we're moving. The most challenge now is because the country is not stable up to now, like for 40 years, and we have the impression that we are doing business and we are constructing our future on sand, because there's no really green lights that show us that where we're going. We don't have like a clear vision to the horizons. That's why exactly I would say it's the most challenge that we have is about security. Even now, there's something happening that's sad in Virunga National Park, where there is a heavy war happening now between the rebels and the government, and it has been like this for almost 1 year and a half. We wish to go and expand activities around in neighboring countries in East Africa and more in Western DRC. Of course, this is, I would say, this is the biggest challenge out of what we call Africa. People used to say this is Africa. Africa is what it is, but beyond that, DRC is something very particular and very special. So this has been on my side attracting more like a particular kind of a market niche of those adventurers, the most extreme adventurers coming to those hidden places, and those are the kind of the clients we are serving. My colleagues have been mentioning problems linked to visa and regulations. We have those problems also, and those are comes like a second side, second place, because we have no regulation, I would say, and you work and you try to find your own way. You try to play two roles as a public sector and private sector, and you bring all together with you, because you are sometime a regulator and you need to take care of your clients. That's exactly what we have in DRC. But beyond that, we have a dramatic region, very interesting, with active volcanoes, endemic animals like gorillas, and we have beautiful lakes, more than 100 lakes on this Abatin Rift Valley. It is something really to think about when you investing in tourism. You have those opportunity there, but difficult to exploit. I mean, it's everywhere. When we see in Ukraine what is happening, when you see in Afghanistan, Asia, and the other side of the ocean, US with the elections, this entire world has challenges. But of course, we can't just keep down and wait for the challenge to sweep away. We just work like that. Thank you.
Thanks, Abed. Thanks, Abed, for sharing. I would like to know, now is like the time to sell your country to the people that haven't been. Are you? What is the main thing, or the one thing that people should go and visit and check out, or the one experience that is worth going through the challenges of visiting Syria?
Yes, actually, the most important part of the visit is the humanitarian side, because when you go to Syria and you meet people who've been in a very difficult situation during the war here, and they are still here and they are struggling every day to work hard to develop themselves, to make a change, to rebuild the country. So this is the most like highlight for the country. When you go to Syria, you hear a lot of amazing stories about the country, about struggling. So some people actually feel like their life changed after visiting the Syria, because this is unique experience. You don't find it anywhere else. So this is what I think is the most important part. Also, Syria is a touristic country. Before the war, we used to have more than 8 million tourists per year. Now we have about 400,000, which is a low number comparing with before the war, but the numbers are increasing every year. Every year we have more people than the previous one, and the international vision about the country is changing because of the travelers and the stories that they tell about Syria. So I think the near future for tourism in Syria is very good. The main problem in the country is the infrastructure because a lot of hotels, places destroyed during the war, like Palmyra, for example. The main highlights, Temple Bell in Palmyra, destroyed. So there's a change. And in the high seasons month, like May, the Christmas, or April or September, we have a lot of people and less hotels. So this is the next challenge for tourism in Syria.
Interesting. Ahmad, besides the hospitality that Iran is famous for, what would you say is the thing that people should go and experience in Iran?
As you mentioned clearly, Iran is famous for the hospitality, and Iranian people are very famous for this one. And every local people like to invite you to their home and to their house to show that they are not terrorists and they are not trying to bother you, and they are just trying to give as the best that they can. Besides this one, I can tell you that Iran is famous for a lot of different things. For example, probably you have no idea that the hottest spot in the world is located in Iran, in Kerman city, in Shahdad or Lut Desert. 70 Celsius degree is the temperature of this place. Definitely during the summertime, you cannot go there and you cannot visit it. But we have some season which is allowed, and you are able to go there and you can visit the nice places. And also we have Persepolis, which the history is very long. The history of Persepolis will go back to 2,500 years ago, and through from the Achaemenid dynasty. And the people who are interested in history, it's a must for our country. It's a must for Iran, and you cannot miss it when you are in Iran. Of course, Tehran, the capital of our country, the capital of Iran, is one of the best places, which looks like a small Iran. The population of Iran at the moment that we are speaking is 84 million people, but just in Tehran, 15 million people are living. And it is like a small Iran. You can experience everything in Tehran. You can have a look at the desert. You can go through the mountain. And it is all just 1 hour, or let's say 1.5 hour drive, including traffic from north to south of Tehran. Northern part of Tehran, we have Alborz mountain, we have the ski resort, we have very high mountain, 5,600 meters high is the highest hill in this region by the name of Damavand mountain. We have a ski resort, we have hotel, which the hotel located in 3,671 meters high, and it's a nice place to explore. Besides all, I want to mention that Iran is not just a desert. This is another thing that a lot of people think, that Iran is just a desert. It looks like a big desert. But in reality, we have a ski resort, we have the snow in Tehran, and we have also in northern part of Iran, under the Caspian Sea, we have a lot jungle and a lot green area. And besides visiting the main cities, besides visiting the beautiful desert which we have it, which there's no doubt on it, I suggest you to visit also the green part of Iran. Don't miss the jungle, don't miss the green area, don't miss the rice field, don't miss the tea plantation, which are I can tell you that these are the different view of Iran. There is something absolutely different. There are some nice small villages which it can give you another experience and another view of Iran, which I believe that when we go there with tourists, no one can believe that this part is Iran. Because everyone thinks that Iranian people are poor people, Iranian people are living in a desert area, but these are the things which you can do. And I want to mention one more thing to do the challenge.
Very fast. Okay. Thank you, Ahmad. But we have no time. We need to move on. Just Gianluca, one word. If people haven't been to Central Asia and they only have time to visit one country, where should they go?
Well, Central Asia or the former Soviet Union in general, my three favorite countries are Georgia in the Caucasus, and in Central Asia is Tajikistan, and in Eastern Europe, former Soviet Union, Ukraine and Moldova. And for all three countries, the reasons are similar. For one, the ethnic diversity, which is astounding in all three countries. So it's a very diverse landscape in cultural and ethno-linguistic terms. The Soviet architectural and artistic heritage in all three countries, and the nature and the food.
Okay, thank you very much, Obed. We run out of time, but I'm going to contact you for next year because what you said about your country was very interesting.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for sharing your experiences. And now is the time to present the award for the best fixer. This year, the NomadMania team decided on the recipient, and we're very happy to be awarding these two. Benjamin Rodriguez. Unfortunately, Benjamin or Benjamin couldn't join. He's actually on a tour right now. He works in Venezuela, another country with lots of challenges at the moment. I'm sure he will be very grateful to know that he won the award. Venezuela, another country that I would like to visit at some point. I think Orest is gonna join me now. He's gonna present the next panel, which is a little bit about the situation. You're gonna talk about the situation in your country at the moment. So Orest, you can lead on.
Absolutely. Thanks, Francisco. Still remember good times when we met each other in Lviv, in my native town in western Ukraine, and now we are virtually meeting again.
No, I just wanted to say that I actually lived 3 months in the same building where you are right now.
Exactly. All right, guys. So we are expecting a few young Ukrainians to join us today, but I'm going to tell you the story for that. So you might know that NomadMania is not just a travel club, it's not just a website, it's also the official registered charity. So basically, the idea of NomadMania is to inspire people to travel and to give a chance for traveling to those people who are in more struggle position. Last year, the scholarship of NomadMania was introduced, and it was granted to 6 young, bright Ukrainians who are able to use a limited amount of money to fund their travels abroad. The idea was that this person was never abroad before. However, this year, we found a situation in our country when over 8 million people were forced to travel abroad, not because of their own will, but because of the Russian aggression in our country. So basically, we now try to get in touch with our friends from the NomadMania who actually were granted the scholarship, and let's see what happens with their life now. I see Anastasia here, and also I see Yevhen. As you might know, that situation with the electricity is not the best, and I just received a notice that one of our other panelists is simply not able to come because there is a power cut in his neighborhood. Fortunately, for me and for all of us, I do have access to electricity, and now this event is actually being streamed, guys, from Ukraine. So I see that we have Anastasia, I see we have Elena, and I see we have Yevhen. So dear friends, nice to see you, and let's quickly tell you one by one, where are you at the moment? Anastasia.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, okay. So now I'm at my workplace. So I work at school as a teacher. I teach English, and now I'm
Which city?
here.
Which city? Where are you now?
No, it's not a city, it's a countryside.
Like where? In Ukraine somewhere?
Yeah, where in Ukraine? Uman.
In Uman, look at that. This is the central-most city in Ukraine on the
Yeah.
crossroads between Lviv and Donetsk and Kiev and Odessa. Great. Alina, where are you now?
I'm in Poland.
Okay. Which
In
city?
Poznan.
In Poznan. Also in the center of Poland, by the way, too. And Yevhen, can we hear? I see that it's something dark moving over there, but let's listen to Yevhen.
Yeah. Actually, it's because of I'm now in a bus on my way, and I'm living now in Brugge, Belgium.
Belgium. Okay. So, as I understand, all of you found yourself in a very tricky situation because of the war we currently have in Ukraine. Can you please quickly tell what was happening in your travels or moving around in the recent month? Just within 1 minute each, please. Anastasia, you can start.
Okay, so I'm just travel from my home to my workplace, and luckily here is quiet. So sometimes we hear like rockets flying under or under
over
over our heads, but we are lucky here, and we all want lucky situation in our country. We hope for that. So that's all, I suppose, for me.
Good to hear that you're safe, that you're in your hometown. However, Alina is outside of Ukraine, right? So, Alina, can you tell your experience, what brought you to Poznan in the recent time?
Okay, so as I'm from Zaporizhia, it's eastern part, and the situation isn't that good. So I was looking for some ways to leave the city, but I didn't want to come as a refugee, and just to come and to know that I don't have a flat or anything, well, like normal place to live. So I found a volunteering program outside Ukraine. It's a European Solidarity Corps, and so currently I'm a volunteer. It's like Erasmus.
Actually, I do remember that we were in touch with you in March, when there was like massive amount, like thousands of people were evacuating from eastern Ukraine, transiting in my native city of Lviv. We were in touch with you, and I remember that you did everything logistically pretty sharp. Even without some additional assistance, you were able to continue moving on to the west, and it's nice to hear that you found your place in a foreign country, actually Poland, which is a great supporter to Ukraine in general.
Yes. And the trip, it was really hard because it's like 24 hours from Zaporizhia to Lviv, and then from Lviv to Przemysl by train. And we were waiting at the border for a long time. And from Przemysl to Poznan, also like 7 or 8 hours. So like 3 trains, and it was really exhausting.
I understand you. I just came back from the eastern Ukraine, where I spent 3 weeks of traveling and visiting different areas. And it really feels like, in terms of the distance, that eastern part of Ukraine is probably the same distance to the western tip as Belgium, as Bruges, where is Yevhen now? So Yevhen, what's happening down there?
Okay, I'll tell now my story a little bit. Originally, I was born in Donetsk, so like on 2nd of February, I decided to went to visit my mother, and 16th of February, before the invasion, they started a full mobilization in Donetsk. So Russian soldiers tried to catch me and to send to the war against Ukraine. I was hiding in my apartment for 2 months without opportunity to go to breathe fresh air, and like just hiding in the apartment, and they tried to catch me. Then I found a way. Luckily, everything you can buy with money. So I paid some money to some guys, and during the night, some militarians let me went through the fields to the Russia. I escaped to Russia. Then I went to Georgia. Then I went to Italy. I lived in Italy for 2 months because I have like a friend there who said to me, "Okay, you can stay in our apartments." And then I decided to go to Belgium, and I moved to Belgium.
Oh wow! Like it's simply impossible to probably realize to many people around the world what Ukrainians, what young Ukrainians are experiencing now, Johan, and your story is something incredible. I even like feel it like within these 2 minutes that you explained to us, and very grateful that you were able to find your way safely out of that situation, and now you are in a safe place. Probably thinking about the future. So can you, like, to wrap up our panel, guys, like, can you tell, like, what are your plans? Like, what do you think, what are you willing to do in the nearest time? Anastasia, you start.
Okay. So, as like I said, we hope for better. We donate and we are volunteering right now, and we will volunteering to protect our soldiers, our militaries, and my plans to continue to teach children. It's really difficult in our situation, but we teachers try our best, and we want our children to be well educated. So I plan to continue to teach and pray and hope for better. So in that case.
Thank you. Elena?
As for me, I still have my volunteering project. And after that, I think I will start looking for a job because the situation doesn't look good. And I'm not sure that I can come back now. So, yeah, I think I will look for a job in Poland.
Good luck with that. And Johan, what about you?
I'm still a web designer, so I have some project as a web designer, and now I'm studying 3D modeling. Maybe I will apply for university in Belgium. I still don't know. And last 3 months I've been busy with clothing collections because when the war started and I was in Donetsk, every day I painted one simple paint, just to express what I'm feeling and just to sublimate somehow this difficult situation. And now all this paint I'm trying to put on clothes and to make own brand. It calls Refugee Drop, and all money from that brand will be sent to Ukrainian army. And now I'm making these clothes in Belgium. I'm studying sewing machine, embroidery machine, everything like that, and I'm doing these prints on clothes.
Well, I can wish you guys only the best. It's impressive to see all of your faces, that you are saying that you continue doing your best in these circumstances. And just for you to know that you can count for the support of NomadMania. And I wish you all the best because, the entire life is ahead of you. So everything will be fine. Just keep on doing what you are doing, what you're believing in, develop your skills, build your network, and wish you all the best. So that's it from you, from me, and we carry on. So
okay, thank you very much for the invitation.
This, guys, what you just heard is probably one of the most intrepid travel experience people can have on their earth, in their life. But it was not made by their own choice. Yeah, the outer circumstances actually put these young people in the position where they had to fight for their life, and they had to be very flexible and smart to take the decisions fast and even put their life into risk. So, but at the same time, there are people who like take this choice by themselves in order to experience more in terms of travel. And that's actually the topic of our next award in regard to most intrepid traveler. And now I'm going to announce who are the panelists actually of that award, guys. So let me check this out. And we've got 5 awards nominees here. This is Lorenzo Barone. This is Nick Fisher. This is Jacqueline Kunz. This is Felix Mechin Giordano and Francois Xavier Paradis Garnet. So basically 5 intrepid travelers, and let's see who was voted to be the most intrepid. And this is Jacqueline. Jacqueline, welcome.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
It's impressive, right? That people were choosing and looking on your online accounts, they probably decided that you're the most crazy out of all. What can you tell
Yeah,
us?
no, it's an absolute honor to be recognized for some of my travel, especially being a woman as well. So you don't see very many women, as we touched on earlier, in extreme travel. Also, I want to touch on what you just said before, Oris, about we have to remember that we're choosing to go to these places where this is the everyday lives of so many people around the world. So where I can leave these intrepid places anytime I want, where a lot of people don't have that option or that choice, and this is just their life. So it's nice to be recognized as a traveler, but I think it's also important to remember that we're guests, we're going there by choice, we're going there for vacation, where a lot of people don't have that choice.
Well, you know, before the war in Ukraine started, I've been traveling actively around the world, and I visited already like 129 United Nations countries. But now I'm in Ukraine, and in order for me to travel, I have to work very, very hard to get the permission to leave. So it really, you really start appreciate your freedom in those circumstances.
Yeah, of course.
So you're based now in Sudan, as I understand.
Yes, yeah, I've been in Khartoum for the last 8 years now.
What do you do there?
I work in education. So mainly I just live there. So I work there because I live there.
Okay, sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Any plans for other intrepid destinations?
Well, I'm actually in Norway right now, so maybe not as intrepid as some of my other choices. So I'll be here through some of the winter, at least.
Okay, Norway in winter sounds very intrepid.
Yeah, well, I'm suffering a little bit, so I've got my layers on.
Cool. All right. Anything else you would like to share, like some stories that were the most memorable for you, for example, that really stand out? I know there are many, but you know, there should be something.
Well, I think my experience living in Sudan over the last few years has been really impactful on my life, and it's been a challenge as well. So I've been in Sudan through the revolution, so for 2 coups at this point. So I do notice that when I'm talking to people, and I'm like, oh, after my 2nd coup, and they're like, no, that's something like you should never be saying. But so it's been an interesting experience living through the revolution, and I live right downtown. If you've been to Sudan, where the Acropole Hotel is, that region or that part of the city, so it's really central protest-wise. So it's really tested my limitations as well.
All right, so very interesting. Once again, I really congratulate you with this amazing award, and continue doing what you're doing, and continue to inspire so many people to go really beyond their comfort zone in terms of travel and life in general.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's an honor.
Bye-bye. Good luck. All right, guys. So that was the panel with intrepid travelers in the widest possible sense. And now I am passing by this leading of our conversation to Sarah. And Sarah, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And this evening, I will have the great honor and the great privilege to be in the audience of a truly exceptional person who I think will also be joining us here. That would be Randy Edwards. Now, first, I need to start by saying here that I am presenting the Sultan of Slowjamistan, Supreme Leader of the Republic of Slowjamistan, or the United Territories of the Sovereign Nation of the People's Republic of Slowjamistan. Now, Your Majesty, first, how should I address you?
Well, last name is Williams, not Edwards. I do not know who Edwards is. Randy Williams, the Sultan, that is me. You can say, my dear Sultan, or Mr. Sultan, or simply a lot of people choose to just call me Big Sexy. It is your choice.
Wow. For those out there in the audience who've not yet heard of Your Grace or had the privilege to visit your empire, could you please help us understand what Slowjamistan is and why it was created?
Well, it is hard to believe that anybody listening, these people are so well traveled, they do not know about my country. So I will take it that everybody knows, unless they just woke up from a long coma or a sleep. But yes, the Republic of Slowjamistan is an 11-acre micronation. It's a very small country, and we are completely surrounded by the United States of America. But on December 1st of last year, we declared independence to be our very own sovereign nation with many citizens and the passport and the laws and the currency. You see, you have the Mr. Big Sexy on the double bill. And we're a peace-loving nation. We're going to have some fun. And most importantly, we invite all of the NomadMania people to come and visit us. I keep checking the NomadMania site every day for a listing of Slowjamistan. It has not yet appeared, but hopefully soon it will.
I hope so as well.
Yes.
Now, what does it mean being the Sultan, and what are the challenges and privileges of your position?
Well, it is important to say it is not all glitz and glamour. A heavy responsibility lies on my shoulder right here. This is the responsibility to protect our nation. Most importantly, we are protecting our nation from, Sarah, are you in America? You in America, Sarah?
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, okay, much better. In America, there has been a plague spreading like a disease in America. It is a certain footwear called the Crocs. You know the Crocs? You know these shoes, the Crocs? They are absolutely abhorrent. As an American, I had tried my very best to work with Congress to outlaw the Crocs in America, but my attempts were futile. So I made a country of my own where the Crocs are absolutely outlawed. It is the foundation of our nation. These are not allowed in the country. So
a true land of freedom.
Yes, we must uphold this. Yes, at all times. There are some other laws as well. Like if you get an email to the entire office, you don't hit reply all. There is no need to do that. And when you are driving down the freeway in the left lane, you must not be in the left lane unless you are passing a car. In America, these people, they stay in the left lane like they're just relaxing and enjoying a nice cruise, and the Sultan is trying to get to work, and they don't move over. In Slowjamistan, swift and severe punishment if you drive in the passing lane. Very important.
Excellent. I think that kind of safety and security is really quite essential.
Absolutely.
Now, how can people become more involved in Slowjamistan?
Like our flag. Well, I put the handy Instagram tag right there. You can go to slowjamistan.org or go to the Instagram or go to the MySpace or the Twitter. But most importantly, we have our website. You can apply for citizenship. It is absolutely free. We just want people who do not wear Crocs. Also, the people must love the animals. Our national animal is the raccoon. This is our mascot, Slowjamistanli. We have beautiful raccoons in Slowjamistan. We have lots of sand, lots of smiles. And most importantly, we invite you to come join us online, but also in person as well. We are 1 hour south of the American city of Palm Springs, and we would like all of the NomadMania people to come and have a nice stop in Slowjamistan, perhaps meet the Sultan, stop for a donut.
Excellent. Now, do you plan to become a member of the United Nations or any other global organization?
I'm going to see if they have responded to our text earlier. We have communicated with them on MySpace, and our messages apparently are still unread. So we would like all of your help if you'd like to assist us in having the UN recognize us. We are right there with Taiwan and Kosovo and some of the other important countries that are fighting for their UN recognition. So we appreciate their efforts, and we are right behind them.
Absolutely, and I think we're all here, to support you as you really do fight for that kind of independence and recognition that you and all sovereign nations deserve.
Thank you.
Now, just one final question. Do you believe that Slowjamistan should be a NomadMania main region, or should it be in the many quirky places list of regions?
Well, I take the word quirky as a compliment, not as an insult, so we will take either one, but we ask for the swift action of Hari and the crew at NomadMania to hurry up and put us on the list. It is very important to us. As a traveler myself, I have been to 183 UN nations. The final countdown is coming. I hope to see all 10 by the end of 2023. If that pesky Turkmenistan guy would please open up his borders, that would be fantastic for all of us. But I thank you, and I thank the many travelers for all of, on a personal note, all of their help. I have traveled to many, many extreme places with the help of people like you, Sarah, and the community. So the Sultan thanks you, and we hope to see you in our sovereign nation very soon, please.
And as I continue on here with the next word and bid you goodbye, what is the correct way to bid farewell to a sultan? Do I curtsy? Do I bow? What's the right kind of what's your royal protocol actually like?
Well, if we were in person, I would ask for a kiss on the cheek, but we are not, so you can throw up the big peace sign and say, "Peace, Sultan."
Peace sign?
Yes,
Like
peace
that?
out, peace out.
Peace out. Okay.
Yes.
Peace out.
I have a coin too. It's very sexy. Very sexy coin.
Wow,
Now available.
Look at that. Whew. I have to say it's it's not every day that I'm in the presence of royalty, and that was intense. Whoa! But with that said, it is time for us to move on to the Lifetime Achievement Award, which is given to a traveler who's truly devoted their life to the travel and exploration of the world. Now, last year, our recipient was the French traveler, André Bruguireau. And, it would not surprise me in the slightest that 1 year in the future, we will be giving this award out to the Sultan. Because I think that a man of his stature and his caliber is certainly highly likely to receive such an award. However, this year, the award will be going to a different person who is not a sultan, but is Heinz Stuke. Now, Heinz cannot join us tonight, but has left instead a video for us to be watching, which I think we will bring up here in just a minute with Horst setting that up for us.
What I can only answer it was, I'll give you good advice. Don't give good advice, because you have to make your own life and you have to find your own way. So it's just no way I can be enthusiastic about everything you do and you find your way. Usually it's always going the other way anyway. Is that I have so much material that I can work with now, because now the real outcome of the journey is with me now. So that's the greatest enjoyment that I have out of the rest of my life, because I can't ride the bike anymore. That's what I'm working on the part of the digitalization, because we live in a different age now where everything is analog in my life. And so I'm happy to have the stuff analog, and I'm going through all the material that's accumulated, and I relive the journey, and it's exactly what it's the greatest enjoyment. And I have a beautiful place here, and I don't have to worry about the next income, the next meal, and most of the stuff has been given to the city hall, and they have already signed this, so I can be content with the rest of my life of work with the material of the journey. you always want to keep memories of things, and when it gets complicated, you better make it a system. So when you make notes on items that you would probably forget about if you look at it 20 years later. I mean, that's my problem, because I never decided to stay on the journey this long time, you know. So when I kept things, I was sent it to my sister, and so I needed to put. Most of the time I don't collect things, I don't buy things. It's only when it's related to people that have given me memorability of our encounter, for example, and it's very important to me because people are always the most important for me in my journey, and it relates to people. Well, this is by accident, you know, it's never even intended. I met people that have done this systematically, and they had collected signatures and things, but this happened by accident because, yes, I did go to newspapers, I did try to sell my story, and sometimes it had consequences because then I was handed on to some other people, and for example, the one in Ethiopia, it was members of the parliament, and so it was like, you travel the whole world. Our emperor is Haile Selassie is very interested in such people, you know, and we would try to make you meet him. So I said, go along, you know. Whenever somebody proposes it, I'm not refusing to go along, you know. So that happened when I was presented to him, you know. And Pele was the same thing, because I met a guy who was dealing with artists and unusual deeds of people, and so I was presented before a game when in the Maracana Stadium in Rio, and I was also a footballer myself before, you know. So. No, it was in the family of the emperor. It was, I think, third or fourth in line, like if you would meet William or Kate or something in the English, you have a succession. You know, I don't know how every country makes it different in the dictatorial and in the type of government they have when it's royalty that rule a country, and so they have fixed the succession of and this person was one of the princes in the imperial family in Japan, and he had come to Osaka because he was also the patron of some sports organization, and so every time they meet somebody, some organization, they try to impress him with some local stuff, and it just so happened that Jeff Nagashima, one of the persons that I'd known since the first trip in Japan, he had a restaurant, and so he had organized a dinner for the entourage, and at that dinner I was presented to him, you know. If it is not just a sensational thing, if it's a real recognition, everybody likes recognition for what he's been doing. So I consider this a recognition, and it's welcome. The main thing is you have to make up your mind what you want to do with your life.
Wow, how many stories. It's 2 a.m. in Hong Kong, so Sarah is going to sleep. Sweet dreams, Sarah. But we hope you stay with us. This is our 10th award, so we still have 2 more after this one. And this one will be the biggest Digital Nomad Award. And since we're talking about digital nomads, let's have a chat with our own show director, again, Orest. I actually met Orest at a digital nomad event that he organized in his hometown, Lviv. I think that was the first time, and that's how I ended up staying in Lviv for 3 months. You are probably the most famous or the biggest or the most known digital nomad in your country, in Ukraine. How do you see the landscape like nowadays, thanks to COVID and remote work? There's a lot more digital nomads than before. What are your thoughts about how everything is developing?
Well, definitely, like this was the trend that was growing, permitting the technology. So I personally started to travel when there were no smartphones, and I remember myself when I was like for 5 months in India on my internship after university, and in order to send an email, I had to visit the internet cafe in New Delhi, right? So there was not even Wi-Fi in our apartment. And then gradually, when technology evolved, this gave an option to people to first of all take part of their work remotely, and eventually just fully immerse themselves into working on a distance, which increases the mobility. I believe also all the booking systems of accommodation, the flights, they also became much more available and user friendly. And basically, the term digital nomad started to be heard more and more, probably in the 2015-16, I believe. So when I heard of it, it feels like, okay, like I'm doing this for a couple of years already, so it was not a new, but the term actually defined eventually, what does it mean to travel and work at the same time. So it was like gradually growing year after year, and definitely the COVID just made like a massive boost. It was the no return point for many companies, for many people. Simply, it's changed the way we work, and now digital nomad lifestyle is kind of normal lifestyle for lion's share of professionals and people in modern world.
Yeah, there are some specific destinations that are known for being like digital nomad hotspots, like, I don't know, maybe like Mexico, Bali, Chiang Mai. But you also encourage a lot of people to go to Eastern Europe, right?
Well, definitely Eastern Europe was off the radar for traveling for quite some time. Once people started to travel with the Eurorail in Western Europe, the furthest to the east they went was Bratislava, and all these like American movies where Bratislava is pictured as as like the really place far away. However, definitely now we see that Eastern and Western Europe is kind of like meeting in terms of the standard of infrastructure, life quality, but at the same time the prices are much cheaper in the East, making it a perfect spot for digital nomads.
Welcome, Anna and Yusuf. You are both also digital nomads. I would love for you to share your journey into becoming a digital nomad. Why don't you go first, Anna?
Hi, so I'm Anna, otherwise known as Anna Around the World. I'm a Filipino-American and photographer that's traveled to 122 countries in the last decade, but I'm also a mechanical engineer. So in 2019, I got the approval to work remotely. So that accelerated my travel since I was hopping around while working on the road. And then 2 years ago, I started sharing my photography on Instagram, and from there it started to grow, and it's brought me so much joy to share my experiences and tips and connecting with other like-minded travelers. So it's an honor to be here today. So thank you.
Yusuf, you want to share, introduce yourself and also share your journey? I think you're muted.
Hi.
There you go.
Hello, Francisco. Hello, guys. My name is Yusuf Al Rashid. I'm from Kuwait. I've been to right now 127 countries. I'm full-time traveler. I'm still going to many countries, and yeah, that's it.
I don't know if you want to share it, but like Anna shared what she does. How do you afford? That's one of the main questions probably that people ask you, right? Like, how do you afford to keep traveling?
Okay, I'm currently working as a content creator through social media, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, many social media platforms. I'm focusing on sharing what I'm doing through the traveling, see how local people lives, interact with them, try their local cuisine, respect their beliefs. Also, I'm focusing on changing the stereotypes of many countries because For example, I am sharing the content creator especially for the Arab region, which many of them they doesn't know how countries look like. For example, like in Africa, in South America, even in Ukraine, what's happening right now. Orest know about this. Like for example, Ukraine, many of Arab they doesn't know what's happened exactly between Ukraine and Russia with this war. Also, I'm focusing on the other side about what I'm using for the sharing the content creator through the social media. I'm showing the hidden gems also in countries by using drones, some special equipments.
Okay. Anna, what's your next destination or your next base if you're moving around?
Yeah, so I'm currently based in Seattle, Washington, but I have plans to move to Italy in early 2023. So I'm incredibly excited. I'm actually finishing up my last 6 countries in North America, and then I will be moving to Italy. So I'm incredibly excited just to have a new base to explore and not do so many transatlantic flights and visit a lot more countries in Africa as well. So.
Nice. Orest, now you're in Lviv, of course, like you said before, but you were always based in Lviv and traveling from there, right?
Exactly. So every digital nomad, every long-term traveler have their own style, how they travel. My hometown is Lviv. I'm in my own apartment in the historical city center, amazing pedestrian area. So very like Central European feel. And it was always my base. So basically, I didn't spend in any country longer than 4 months, no, 5 months. So India is 5 months, Argentina 2 months, Mexico 4 months, Thailand 2 months, United States like up to like 5 months as well. So basically, I was visiting some places or some region, having a base, and from there was exploring the area around. But every single year, I was coming back to my city to hang out with my friends, see my family, and so on. And in the early stages of my digital nomad career, I was going to extend the trips, which would take a few months in a row before I came back home. But in recent years, before COVID, if we can tell those are recent, since the airline connection improved dramatically in my city, and also with Ukrainian passport, you started to travel much more free starting from 2016. Before that, we required visas to Schengen areas. Like now it's visa free, so it became much easier to travel. And over 100 countries became visa free for Ukrainians at all. So using this chance, I traveled faster to different locations, up to 1 month with a small backpack, and simply coming back home to put the processes up, which will enable me to continue traveling back and forth. So that was my style. And yeah.
Nice. Youssef, were you always based in the Middle East, in Kuwait?
Yes, I'm based in Kuwait. I'm also organizing group trips to like some unusual destinations. I just came yesterday from Bhutan, which is a lovely country, but they have the STVs, which is cost $200 per day, so you cannot spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, actually, one of my bases, or at least it was last year, I became a resident in Dubai, so I was kind of close in the Middle East. But my main one is Georgia, because the same as Anna, my country is very far away from everything. I'm originally from Argentina, so every single time is a big transatlantic, like 9 hours, 12-hour flight every time. So it's a lot easier being more like in the center of the world. But yeah. I don't know if I'm not sure if you shared where people can find you, because I guess the 4 of us are content creators. So if you want to share, Youssef, your main platforms.
Yeah, I can share like my Instagram and my YouTube on the chat. Yeah.
Just the username or like the name of the channel.
Yeah, the username is also mentioned on my nickname.
It's very easy to find me. My name is Orest Zub, so Orest like forest without F, and surname is ZUB, right? For the last 10 years, I've been blogging only in Ukrainian language, kind of, pushing this travel and digital nomad wave in my own country. But this year, I completely dedicated myself to the media presence of war in Ukraine, and I started English language channels under the same name, Orezub, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. So now it's focused on that. However, once the war is finished and we win this eventually, I plan to continue traveling around the world. So Orezub, very easy to find me.
Nice. Anna?
You can find me at my Instagram, where I share my photography at Anna Around the World, and then also TikTok, Anna Around the World, and then I have a blog, AnnaAroundTheWorld.com. So yeah, thank you guys.
Perfect. So now is the time to give out the award for the best digital nomad based on the vote of NomadMania community. So it's not the team, the people actually voted for the winner. The nominees are, well, Youssef, Anna, and also Gianni Bianchini from Italy, Tom Grond, and Alvaro Rojas from Spain. And based on the vote of the community, the award goes to Anna Harris.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations, Anna.
Thank you so much, everyone. I wasn't expecting this, especially being nominated alongside some of the most amazing digital nomads and content creators. So I'm beyond humbled. And when I started sharing my photography and travels a couple years ago, it came from the genuine passion for exploring the world and capturing moments, connecting with other like-minded travelers, and sharing tips to make travel as accessible to others as possible. So this award means so much to me and inspires me to keep creating and sharing my love for travel. And I'd like to thank everyone here today, the travel community, Philippine Global Explorers, and of course my family. And thank you so much to the NomadMania team for making this possible and bringing together such a fantastic group of people. It's really such an honor.
Thank you again for joining, and congratulations. I hope people go and check out your work. I've been stalking a little bit your Instagram, and you have incredible pictures.
Thank you so much.
So now I think Sam is gonna join us now. It's also getting a little late here in Bangkok, so I think I'm gonna tune off soon.
Yeah, luckily it's still morning here in Mexico, so I definitely benefited on the timings compared to Francisco and Sarah. I think we should just take a moment to say thank you to them for their hard work this year again. And this year we're going to have, this panel is about national travel clubs. And I think the national travel clubs are going to be joining me now. And we have, hello, how are you? Helena, hi.
Hello.
So the Finnish and Swedish clubs, Elena, I'll come to you first. Do you want to tell me about the Swedish club, Sweden 100, I think it's called? Or?
Our club's name is Club 100. So last year we celebrated our 25th anniversary. At the moment we have 77 active members and 84 hangarounds, and 11 members and 1 hangaround visited every country in the world. And the club language is Swedish, but you don't need to be born in Sweden or have a Swedish passport to become a member. For example, I was not born in Sweden. And to become a hangaround, you need to visit 50 countries, pay a one-time fee, and come to our club gathering. For example, I travel alone with 2 small daughters. My daughters are 5 and 7 years old, and the 7-year-old, she visited 51 countries, so she will become an official hangaround in our club in January. And to become a member, you need to visit at least 100 countries, hang around for a year, and come to our annual club meeting. And during even years, we have annual club meetings somewhere in Sweden. For example, this year we had it in the northern part of Sweden, and we traveled all together to the northern part where Sweden meets Finland and Norway. But for next year, we chose a little bit warmer destination. So we will meet all together, like about 35 participants, by Angel Falls in Venezuela. And
Okay.
we also...
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, for example, we love to travel together, so especially to those countries which are hard to visit. So recently we've been to Syria, Libya, South Sudan, and as soon as North Korea opens its borders, we plan to go skiing there in winter.
Amazing. It's amazing what these clubs organize and everything they get up to. I just want to welcome Jakob from which club are you representing, Jakob?
Yes, hello everybody. I have a little problem with my professional camera, so this has to do it. But I'm Jakob, and I'm from the Danish Travelers Club. I've been a member since 2004, and we have around 500 members in Denmark.
Okay, amazing. And Uga is here as well, I think representing the Turkish Travel Club.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I am fine, thank you. How are you?
Great, thank you. Great, thank you. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the Turkish Travelers Club, and how many members you have, what kind of organization you have?
Mm-hmm. I would like to say hi from Istanbul to everybody. Turkish Travelers Club is a non-profit or official association founded by Professor Orhan Kural in 1998. Mr. Kural was a big traveler and famous activist before he passed away. Our current president is Mr. Selman Arınç, and he is also a big traveler, and he is among the top 50 travelers in NomadMania master rankings. We are trying to develop cooperations between the travelers, and we organize some special trips, and we hold events. Due to the fact we are the first and main official traveler association in Turkey, we have received permission to use our country's name in our official title. Our official title is Türkiye Gezginler Derneği. That means Turkey's Travelers Association. And finally, I want to introduce you our museum. I came here today to attend the panel from here and to show this place to you. We call here Traveler's House, and you can find items, documents, and collections from all the countries in the world. And I think this is the place is like no other. So this place is becoming famous day by day. Thank you very much.
I have to say, the room behind you looks amazing. I can see all of the stuff behind you, and it looks like a fascinating place to visit. Like, I don't know if it's available open to the public, or is it? If it is available open to the public, I'd love to visit one day. Pirkko, I'd love to hear from you about the Finnish Travel Club. Maybe you can give me the official name if the Finnish Travel Club is not the official name.
Well, we have a Finnish name, but then in English we call us the Finnish Global Explorers. And we have been around since year 2000, and we are about 140 members, and we have a meeting every month, like every first Friday of the month. And in a monthly meeting, we usually have like 20 to 30 members. Of course, different people, different months, at least slightly, because a lot of us are traveling, so not every person is in Helsinki every month. And we have web pages, we have a closed Facebook group for the members. And on the web page, we have sort of the rules how to become a member. We have the meeting minutes of the monthly meetings, and we have presentations of our members. And especially as this event this evening is a NomadMania event, so it might be worth mentioning that one of the requirements to become a member in the Finnish club is that you have a NomadMania profile, and in that NomadMania profile you have at least 100 Travelers Century Club areas, so the TCC areas. We started the year 2000 with the TCC rules, so that's why we still we are not asking people to have 100 countries, but to have 100 TCC areas. And of course, the people following this presentation know that 100 TCC areas, so depending how do you travel, so it's around 70 or 80 countries.
That's amazing. It's amazing that these clubs bring together everyone. Riza, I'd like to hear from you. I believe you're representing the Filipino club. Can you tell me a little bit about it and the chapters and all of that type of thing?
That's right. My name is Riza Rasco, and I'm representing the Philippine Global Explorers. Before I start, I really just want to share my excitement because two of our members, the Philippine Global Explorers, have won awards today. Anna Harris for winning the Best Digital Nomad, and Luisa Yu for winning the Most Positive Traveler. And congratulations to both of them. Really, really exciting day for us in PGE. There's a lot of celebrations going on in the background that you're not seeing, but everyone's celebrating. So we are probably the newest travel club here. We were formed in July 2019. Since we are a new club, I'll just give a little bit of background how the club was formed. Way back in 2015, I decided to travel, to quit my job and travel full time. And I did an overland trip of Africa at the time, and it took several months. When I came out of that trip in 2016, I was well into travel, and I was wondering whether I had a Filipino tribe, and where are they? Where are the Filipino travelers? And I digged and Googled, and I found a couple of people a couple of travelers in TCC, and I contacted them, and we had initial meetup, an initial meetup, and then fast forward in 2019, July 2019, when I was in the Philippines at the time visiting my family, I decided to put together to invite all the most traveled Filipinos I knew at the time, which were a couple of folks, a couple of travelers who are already members of TCC, and my father, who was one of the most traveled people I know, and a family member as well, an aunt who was a medical doctor, and her husband. So we had our initial meeting in July 2019, and we decided to form the club. Then fast forward from there, we are now in 2021. We brought in more members, and we incorporated into a nonprofit organization. So we are like the Turkish team, the Turkish club. We are also a fully fledged nonprofit organization. We have a board of directors. The club is or the organization is governed by a board of directors, and we have a set of officers. So now we are 900 members, 900 plus of the most traveled Filipinos who are located worldwide in 6 continents. And our requirement for joining is that you must have traveled to at least 20 countries and territories. We have a tiered membership. We have what we call associate memberships, which is the base membership, and what we have what we call official membership, which are those members who pay their annual dues, and for paying their annual dues, they get a little bit more benefits from being a member of the organization. So I'll stop there because I've taken quite a bit of time.
No worries, that's fantastic. I'm pleased to hear that you only started in 2019. You've already grown over to 900 members. So it's amazing that you've grown that much. And I'm sure if people want to join and they're Filipino, I'm sure they can contact you and figure out the best way to join the club or go to our webpage. Jakob, I'll just come to you. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about the Danish Travelers Club? About maybe you have events coming up, or how people can join.
Yeah, we do. We are actually, as I said, we have 500 members across Denmark, and we have meetings in both the east and west of Denmark. Every 2 times a year, we have big events for the whole country. We have our yearly Christmas party and ADM, and that was held just last week. And we also have a summer trip where we normally go to a remote place in Denmark, some kind of island or just a beautiful place somewhere. So that's always a huge success. Normally around 30 or 40 people show up. But we see around 100 to 150 of our members regularly. I also forgot to say in the beginning that the club was founded in 1996, so it's actually pretty old. And at that time, they decided, or they thought, that there would only be around 500 Danish members qualifying for being members of the club. But over the time, we have had all in all 900 members, and now we are 500 active. So it's also a way of it's also expanding all the time. I should also note, as some of the others, about our criteria for membership. You have to have been to as many countries as you are old, at least 30, but I'm 49, so my minimum is 49. You also have to have been at 4 continents. You have had to cross equator. And then we also have a requirement of continuous traveling. So for every 2 new years passing, you have to travel to 2 new countries in order to uphold your membership. And if you have been to more than 100 countries, you are free they can't kick you out unless you don't pay your annual fee. So that's very much how it works. I would also say, for me, it's also a very social club. I met some of my best friends, including my girlfriend here, who was on another panel earlier today, Mette. So for me, it's not only about traveling and exchanging travel opinions, it's also very personal. It's a great community of meeting people, and we had the privilege to meet, among others, some of the other travelers clubs, the Filipino Travelers Club, for instance, in Yerevan at the Extreme Travelers Festival recently. So we are also seeking in our club to expand collaborations with our sister clubs worldwide. So we're very open for that.
That's amazing. I have to say, I love your T-shirt. The world map as a T-shirt is a great is a great thing to have if you're a traveler. Do you want to say once again how people can join the club? What's the best way of? Do they go to your website, or what's the kind of method for joining? I know obviously you explain the application process, but how do they find your club? Jakob.
To our club, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we have the Danish name for the club is Die Bereisesklub. So our website is also called 3xw diebereisesklub.dk, and it is initially for Danes, but as they have no travelers club in Norway, we also have Norwegian members. But it is initially a Danish club. But I think somebody applying and wanting to apply and are fulfilling the obligation for becoming a member, I don't think we will let anybody down. So everybody is welcome. I can help if anybody's interested. They can write, and I can share the link. I also have to add that if you don't fulfill the official requirements, we also have a kind of an adventurous quote where you can go in, but then you have to have your application evaluated by our board, because we also have a board of director and just got a new chairman there recently. So we have what we call a code A and a code B, and the code B is of course the adventurous quote. An example is a man who climbed the 7 summits of the world within 1 year. I was evaluating him because I was vice chairman at that time, and I thought, Everest, I have to check up on him, but he had been to Everest twice. So he is truly an adventurer, and we also love to include those people, even though they don't fulfill the official requirements.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm sure.
Can I make a comment?
Sure, of course.
As you, Sam, started about this, that do we sort of cooperate with clubs within the Nordic countries or so? So just for you to, Jacob, to say that I'm coming to Copenhagen to listen to this Gunnar Garfors in a couple of weeks. So I will be joining you at that point. So
great.
And if I can add, I would like to say that our Swedish club is coming to Denmark as well in January. So it will be our official club trip, and we will spend the weekend with our friends in Denmark.
Amazing.
That's amazing. So if anyone is watching is from any of these countries, yeah, I'm sure you can speak out to I'm sure you can reach out to the people here and join the clubs through them or through their websites or searching the clubs online. Thank you so much for your time today, guys. I really appreciate you being here for this panel. And I believe Harry is now going to be joining us, and we will lead into the next panel. Hi, Harry. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine. It's daybreak here in Melbourne, and I'm not sure you can see behind me, there are air balloons in the sky. It's, well, I don't know, it's quite amazing. So yeah, it's coming up for 6 o'clock here. First of all, to all the travel clubs, it's great seeing you. I've been to what I call the Turkish Travel Museum. You really do want to go there. If any one of you is in Istanbul, that is a must see. I have never quite seen anything like it. So it's something to strive for. All of you, I'd like to congratulate you for creating, well, maybe you didn't create them, but you are members of great clubs. And for doing it, I would imagine, or I would wish that there are such travel clubs in every country. And hopefully that may be achieved, because I do believe NomadMania is global, but then we also need the local expertise, the local connection. And on this note, since you are organizations, we can present the award for Best NomadMania Friend Organization. Now, last year, it was the Turkish Travelers Club that won the award, or I still have the award waiting to give it to you. So hopefully I am going to make it to Istanbul soon and bring it over, and we can meet up. This year, we decided to give this award to a different type of organization, not a local travel club, but a bit of a bigger organization. So I have the pleasure of giving this award of Best NomadMania Friend Organization to Every Passport Stamp, EPS. For those of you who don't know, and I believe all of you do, Every Passport Stamp is on Facebook, and it is an amazing resource for most travelers. I want to congratulate Stefan Krasovsky, its founder, for completely going offline during America's Thanksgiving weekend. I definitely believe that when you're a founder of a club, you need to have boundaries and say, this is how much I can do. And then this is what I cannot do. And I want time with my family. So I believe Stefan is celebrating Thanksgiving with his family. And everyone else on EPS absolutely said, Stefan is the one who needs to accept it. So on behalf of Stefan, then, thank you for EPS. Thank you for creating it, for being a resource of incredible up-to-date information for the traveler. And I'm sure all of us have benefited from EPS existing. At this point, I would also like to thank all the travel clubs. I would like to make a special shout out to ETIC. I think ETIC is another great resource which has taken us to really bizarre, unusual places we would never dream of going. And you need to be quite a visionary to want to take a group of travelers to Sealand, for example. And I have very fond memories of going to Sealand with ETIC, and also incredible memories of our trip to the oil rig in the Caspian in Azerbaijan, or where we flew with a helicopter. Risa was sitting next to me on that chopper, so I'm sure you remember. I mean, that was really out of this world. Trips that would be impossible to organize on one's own, ETIC has done. So what I believe is that definitely all clubs are interconnected. We are all dependent on each other. We all need to cooperate and be together in this and basically share our love of travel. I would also like to thank our hosts for tonight, Sarah, Francisco, and Sam, who both last year and this year have given up a lot of their time completely voluntarily to present this show. So thank you very much, guys. Sam, you're the only one left.
I know.
Zone. Thank you so much, Sam. Really, I appreciate it. You know, you didn't have to do this, and yet you do, and it's great having you here. So I do hope at one point that you will complete your 12 remaining countries, if that's something you still want to do.
It is for sure. It is definitely something I want to do. It's just, yeah, I've been busy, so hopefully I'm able to do the final 12 next year. I'm hoping, but we'll see.
Great. Thanks for being with us tonight, Sam. Well, or this morning for me. All right. Now, we're talking clubs, and we're going to do our last panel, which will award finally the biggest traveler award. And I have the pleasure of inviting our last year's recipient of the biggest traveler award, Gina Morello. Gina, hi.
Hi, Harry. Good morning.
How are you? Are you in Portugal?
I am in Portugal, my new home, Lisbon. So I'm enjoying it.
How are you adapting there? How do you find it?
Oh, it's lovely. The people are so warm and welcoming. And, you know, we have a huge travel club in Portugal. So I'm so lucky and grateful to have the support of so many fantastic big travelers here in Portugal. So shout out to those guys and gals for just making me feel so welcome and so at home already.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Portuguese are known for their hospitality, so no doubt there. Great, great. Gina, so first of all, once again, congratulations for last year. Can you believe it's a year? I mean,
can't believe it's a year since I was sitting at the port in Ushuaia waiting to board my ship to Antarctica, and I literally almost missed the boat because of the
tell
award.
us a bit about your past year and some of your travels and adventures.
Yes, it's been a wild ride for me this year for various reasons, but I did a few bucket list things. Most recently, I went to Pitcairn. I spent a month in French Polynesia and went to Pitcairn. Luckily, it opened and I had already signed up for a cruise. So that was a fantastic experience.
Yeah,
very interesting. And I would do it again, actually. I'm funny that way.
You wouldn't want to live in Pitcairn, though, would you?
No, but they're looking for people to move there, actually, because the population is slowly decreasing. It's quite remote there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Takes a while to get there and a while to get back. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And I spent a few weeks in the Wuhan corridor. That had been on my bucket list for a couple of years. And after last year's takeover by the Taliban, I thought it would be impossible to visit. but now once again it's possible to visit. So I went there actually overland from Kabul because the border from Tajikistan is still closed. So that made it even more interesting. Yeah, so it was quite intrepid, I would say, to travel overland for several days just to get to Ishkashim.
Well done. Yeah, you put the rest of us to shame, really, you know.
No, I think I'm just doing what any of these lovely people that were speaking before me tonight would do. Really, we're all cut from the same cloth, I think.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, Gina, you're here tonight not only as last year's NomadMania's biggest traveler, but you're also here to talk to us a bit about MTP. So we're talking travel clubs, and obviously Most Traveled People is one of the big ones out there. So tell us a little bit about what MTP is up to and doing. And we do remind everyone that NomadMania does have the MTP regional list available on our website. So
yes, so the reason why I'm here tonight, I'm a member of the newly formed MTP steering committee, created to guide and review changes to MTP lists and provide an extra element of community support and guidance. So it's not just like a one-man show for MTP. So with that in mind, just to give you a little background, MTP was created in 2005 by our founder, Charles Veely. And I believe he had finished the TCC list and was looking to do a little bit more. Guinness apparently at that time has stopped supporting extreme travel. And so he decided to create his own list based on TCC, and then he added in ham radio and some evolutionary changes since then. I guess the biggest change, in addition to the steering committee and a new CEO, Loic Pedras from Portugal, is that he'll be rolling in the NomadMania regions into MTP as well, just to make a more fair list, since NomadMania has been vetted by the community all along. So
well, thank you for that honor, Gina. You know, I mean, I can only say that this is MTP giving its nod and saying we really should be dividing Chad and Peru and even smaller countries like Belgium or Luxembourg. Well, not Luxembourg, no, but we want to be telling travelers to go further. That is the ideal. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, it'll definitely incorporate NomadMania list, and as I mentioned before, have more of a community and a kind of group oversight to the future changes in MTP.
That's great. Thank you, Gina. Thanks. Now, MTP is one of the big clubs, but then we also have the mother of all travel clubs, the Traveler Century Club, TCC. And so I have the pleasure of inviting two lovely ladies who will be talking a little bit about TCC and reminding us what that is about and what that's for. So Joanne, I believe, is here, and Pamela. So are you out there? Pamela, hi. It's so nice to see you. It's been a while.
It has been. And thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. So Pamela, for those who may not know, if there's anyone there, tell us just a very little bit about the TCC and what you've been up to in the latest times, you know, post-COVID.
Joanne's going to fill in sort of more of the history of the TCC and the chapters we have and how they developed. I joined the TCC in 1987, back in the very analog world. The club was founded in 1954, and back at that time, it was hard to get to 100 countries. You know, there was no internet. there were no guidebooks. And for the Americans, I think the Arthur Fromer Europe on $5 a day, yeah, he didn't even publish that until the late 50s. You know, so where did you go for information? How you know, it was tricky. So a group of travel agents founded TCC in Los Angeles. And it was a social organization, which we've always been since then. Back, the rules they established at that time, we still keep. We're very traditional. The big one is like, how long do you have to visit a country for to count it? Well, back in those days, you know, you're not going to get into Albania. And the way people would do it was catch a flight from Athens to Romania, and it stopped in Tirana. So, okay, you count it. And it would open the club up to more people joining. So we didn't want to exclude people because, you know, these places are hard. Africa was hard. You know, there are no Lonely Planet guidebooks at that time. Right. And so we've kept that rule till today, you know, and we catch flack for it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that doesn't quite go in line with the NomadMania standard, but fair enough, you know.
Yeah, we take our list very seriously. We don't want to delete places because, you know, people spend a lot of money to get to them, and then we get angry emails if, you know, we take it off. We get angry emails if we don't put something on. You know, so we take it very seriously, and it's a doable number. Right. So. What are our meetings like? They're social events, and every chapter has its own, you know, way of how they, you know, want to run their meetings. In California, the setup has been, God, for decades. You know, we meet for cocktails, have a lunch, and then we have a presentation. Very first meeting I went to, there was these two old guys. This is in the 80s. They'd gone to West Germany, bought a diesel Mercedes, and somehow, I don't know how they got permission, but they drove into the Soviet Union. Okay. And I remember them saying, you know, the only way they could fuel was going to a farm collective, and they didn't know how much to, you know, charge them. So it was like pretty much a free trip, you know. So, you know, this good stuff, you know. So I kept going to the meetings since then. I was on the board for 16 years. I was president 2012, 2013. I did the redesign of the newsletter for like 4 years, and then handed it off to Tim Skeet, who does it now. Okay. So,
thank you so much, Pamela, for sharing that. Now, Joanne, maybe you can fill us in a bit about the chapters and current activities of TCC.
Yeah, sure thing. So we currently have about 15 to 1,600 members, and we have 29 chapters around the world. So 21 are in the US, we have 1 in Canada, we have 4 in Europe, and 3 in Asia Pacific, each holding 2 to 4 meetings, in-person meetings primarily at this point, now that we're kind of moving a little bit past COVID restrictions. So all members can come to any of those. You just have to contact the chapter coordinator because, of course, primarily they're to gather in folks that are directly in that immediate area. We have also club-wide events. We had one last year in Malta, and we're going to have one next year in Calgary, Canada for the Calgary Stampede. And in 2024, we just announced that meeting will be held in the Azores. So everyone's pretty excited about that. They're really great fun. You know, this is just like with the all meetings and getting together with travelers. You find that, you know, finally someone that will listen to my travel stories, right? So everyone has a really great time at all of those. We additionally now have a speaker series that is monthly on various travel topics. It's done over Zoom with breakout rooms after that allow members to, you know, get to know each other and share information. And those have been really popular. So anyone that qualifies to join, we'd love to have you joining the Traveler Century Club. We have a website, travelercenturyclub.org, where all information is about that and about our chapters. So the only criteria is that you have traveled to 100 or more of the 330 places that are on the Traveler Century Club list. If you're someone that likes to click off where you've been, I think that's a lot of us, there's actually 3 applications that I know of that are doing this. And one of them, of course, is NomadMania, which was referred to previously, that application. There's also Marco Travel, which has multiple travel clubs, and the UN list on it too, but Traveler Century Club is one of the things for that. And there's one in development that may be released as early as this coming year. So lots of fun things going on.
Thank you so much, Joanne. Yeah, and I do know you have a nice Instagram page where you upload.
That's right.
Are you running that? You upload some really nice photos there. So,
yeah. Hey, thanks for
congratulations
mentioning,
that.
Harry. Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. I currently I'm taking the pictures from our on our quarterly newsletter. We have a little photo contest. So these are entries into that photo contest. They used to be all just my pictures. I'm like, please, someone help me out here.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
that's
Well,
what's
well
coming.
done. Well done. I look forward to it. It's one of the few travel websites I actually follow, which are not
awesome.
personal sites. Right. Okay, guys. Well, it's time to slowly wrap this endless show up. And of course, the last award of the evening is the Biggest Traveler Award. And this is one which is voted on by the community. So here we are again. Gina was last year's recipient. And if you remember well, last year the voting was extremely tight. So Gina, well done, but you did win by the skin of your teeth.
Yes,
Now,
I understand.
joined by some of the nominees in this category. So this year we opened it up to 6 nominees, and we've got 4 of them with us today. So Risa, David, João Paulo, and Tor. Okay, welcome to our NomadMania Awards. Let me just say quickly that the other 2 nominees are Lily Echevarria and Michael Runkel, both very big travelers. Michael has done 193 and he's a professional photographer and he keeps on traveling. Lily is very close to 193 and she keeps on uploading useful content online. But I'll let the remaining nominees speak for themselves. So Risa, you're nominated for the 2nd year in a row. So tell us a little bit about your travels in the past few months or the past year.
Thank you, Harry, and thank you again for this nomination. It's always an honor to be recognized. So my travels really, I've traveled through the pandemic. In April 2019, I decided to take my 2nd personal sabbatical from my professional career as an intellectual property licensing professional. And at that time, my plan was to set out to just travel for a full year again, and then go back to work. So that was April 2019, and then COVID happened, and I just kept going. I kept traveling, and up to now, I haven't stopped, and I haven't gone back to work. So in April 2019, I had done 119 countries at that point. And right now I am at my 191st, and I'm looking to go to Tuvalu in a few days, which would then be my 192nd UN country. So for the past year, just to describe how it's been, a little bit easier than the previous couple of years because countries have opened up. In the past couple of years, I had to deal with a lot of border entry requirements and visas, which was historically had been was really very difficult because of the COVID situation. But this year, I have traveled pretty much nonstop since the beginning of the year, since April 2019. But I was more focused this year on Asia and the Asia Pacific, which were my least explored regions of the world. And so for the past few months, I've just been hopping, jumping from one country to another, and one island to another, because that's kind of what's remaining for me.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Risa. You must be exhausted, and I admire, I admire all this energy and dedication to the goal. João Paulo, amigo meu.
Olá, amigo. Can I speak in Portuguese or I have to be in English?
No, I think we're an English-speaking group tonight. So Gina may be learning some Portuguese, but so João Paulo, what have you been up to in the past year?
What could I say? I have a dream, I have a dream. And the dream is going to come true because NomadMania and MTP will be together in the same, will be at least with both of the clubs. The last years I've been traveling, trying to get all NomadMania regions, as you know, and it's your fault. And my family, they all know it's your fault that I'm away. So this is the guy. Also, you know that last year I was trying to finish all Africa regions. I did it, but then I did not because they changed. But now, I got a big picture because I'm gonna have MTP and NomadMania lists together, and that will be a big challenge, and that's what I'm doing. So that's it. You make me, you bring the disease to me, so now I'm following it.
All right, that's brilliant, João Paulo. Keep going. Travel never ends. Okay, David is, as he told us, somewhere in Aruba, and I guess he came off the connection. Tor, you're in Fiji, I believe, right?
Good
Tor?
morning. Yes, hi. Hello.
Hi, you're in Fiji, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your last travel year.
Sure. It's been hard. I think so. Obviously, the pandemic has been hard for anyone who wanted to cross borders and go and visit people. And because I travel with some very specific rules, not being able to fly, not being able to go home, and so on. I got caught in Hong Kong, and I wasn't able to leave Hong Kong until January this year. This year I've seen a lot of progress, but it's been hard earned, again, because I'm not flying and I'm heavily relying on container ships in the Pacific. A lot of paperwork has been required of me, and a lot of permissions from governments and government offices. But the progress has been good, and I'm now down to my last 3 countries. Just like Risa, I'm hoping to go to Tuvalu very soon. It seems they will be opening now in December, but I'm counting on a ferry to come and pick me up.
Good luck, Tor. And I understand you're making a documentary of your travels, or
Yeah. So I have a variety of partnerships throughout this project, and one of them is with Salomon. Salomon is a French sporting company, and I've been traveling in Salomon shoes since I left home, which is a little bit of a coincidence, but it's become a thing. So it's gone from buying a pair of shoes 9 years ago to them shooting a documentary about all of this now. So this week I've been spending time together with Mike Douglas from Canada. and he's been filming and asking questions and all of the technical stuff. And yeah, he'll take that back and they'll start editing, and then hopefully it'll be released sometime next year.
Oh, we can't wait to see that film. I think we might have a special projection, you know. Now, hopefully next year, the NomadMania Awards will be live and not virtual. We had wanted this for this year, but due to the war in Ukraine, that didn't become viable. But hopefully next year we can do it, and maybe we can screen Tor's film, and maybe we will have more documentaries as well. Okay, guys, the time has come to reveal the result of the vote of the NomadMania community for the biggest traveler award of 2022. Now, last year, the result was extremely close, but this year, the result was a landslide. So the margin is pretty high and indisputable. So the recipient of the Biggest Traveler Award 2022 is Tor Pedersen. Well done, Tor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say?
I would like to say that I'm very humbled. I've read through the profiles, and there are truly some extraordinary travelers doing some extraordinary things, and I can't imagine how anyone could choose who would be the best travel or choose for any of the categories for that matter. I would like to congratulate everyone who won during the 2022 NomadMania Awards, and anyone who was nominated. And I would just say thank you so much for thinking about me and honoring me. It feels very, very nice to have some recognition for what it is that I do. Often it's a lot more hard than what it looks to be on the surface. And that's my own fault. That's the way I run social media. But yeah, thank you for the recognition, and thank you very much for the award. I'm deeply honored.
It is our pleasure, Tor. Thank you once again. Keep your resilience. I think you are an example of resilience, dedication, and positivity for most of the community. So well done. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the second NomadMania Awards. Thank you all for joining in and being part of it. For those of you who are about to go to sleep, sweet dreams. For those of us who've been awake all night, we're going to need some coffee. So I think we're going to go and get it. Thank you once again, and see you in 2023. Happy travels, everyone. Ciao.